Sky Sports presents Ford Maverick Rugby Union. The best in the field.
The Garryowen. Kick it, chase it, nail him. This is the birthplace of one of the most primitive but most effective tactics in the game. Garryowen, a club and a phrase known worldwide. And the modern-day Garryowen still has plenty to say for itself. Limerick is a hotbed of Irish rugby. The Munster region has produced the champion club in all 4 years of the Irish League. And Garryowen are the best of them all. Winners in '92 and again last season. A passion to win built on years of tradition.
There are unbelievable stories about what fellows did to play rugby. Would miss a meal that they could need to play rugby. And people are fanatical about rugby in Limerick City. Everybody plays rugby. There was a saying one time that in Garryowen you had a docker and a doctor packing down the front row together. And this is quite true.
Into Woods, very strong in the open. Great play by the hooker. That's terrific. There's Paul Hogan, the captain. Now, Stephen McIvor to Murphy. They men again over. Outside to Dan Larkin. Make it on your own. Inside again to Richard Wallace. Has he got the pace to make it all the way to the line? Oh, yes! That's a good try. My goodness, the tries are coming well now in this match.
There's only one place to be on match day, and today the locals try and will their team, lying second in the league, back to the top. Lansdowne arrived from Dublin in desperate need of a win. Played 3, lost 3. It's Garryowen versus Lansdowne in the company of former England fly half Stuart Barnes.
Good afternoon, welcome to Sky Sports coverage of Insurance Corporation Rugby in Ireland. We're at Dooradoyle in Garryowen. It's a club with a great atmosphere. It's going to be a cracking match today. Our 2 studio guests are men who know a great deal about Limerick rugby. Tony Ward, one of Garryowen's favourite sons, great Irish outside half of the past. Mick English, also an Irish outside half, came from Limerick, Mick, but you finished your career in Lansdowne. What's the reception coming back from Dublin now?
Oh, we always get a good reception down in Limerick. Garryowen have the best record in the All-Ireland League, and they play the best rugby in the All-Ireland League. And we're thrilled to be here today, although I don't think we're favourites.
Not favourites. Tony, community here means so much to Garryowen, and that's been a strength of the club, hasn't it?
Very much so. The support, I was told about a fortnight ago before the Blackrock game, Young Munsters. The passion for the game down here, Stuart, is really unique. I'm not sure the type of crowd we'll have here today. I think there'll be the interest we usually get at a Limerick game. Probably the Derby games are the most passionate of the lot. I agree with what Mick says. I think the Garryowen undoubtedly go into today's game as favourites, and I'll be surprised if they don't come out on top at the end.
Yeah, is that the feeling? You're Lansdowne man now, but you're expecting Garryowen to take this one, Mick?
I think so, without Eric Elwood, especially, who was cried off, and we have a few injuries in forwards. I can't see us. Well, you never know. Rugby's a strange game.
Tony, do you think Lansdowne really are in that much trouble? It's a difficult start,
yeah,
but...
That's been the biggest problem. I think in the All-Ireland League, by the nature of it, that if you lose a few games early on, you're really playing catch-up rugby, and that's been a problem for Lansdowne. And the real problem they had was when they went to Shannon a fortnight ago and they had 39 points stuck on them. So psychologically, to get over that is very important. But they brought in a few key players. I mean, Charlie Quinn will certainly give us all today. He's come in at number 8. Paul O'Connor's come in the second row to try and compete with Richard Costelloe. And there's one key player missing from Garryowen. That's Ben Cronin at the back, because he wins a lot of line-out ball for them and he's edging closer to the Irish team. He's a big loss, but overall, as I say, I think Garryowen will carry too much, and they're the one team in the All-Ireland League over the last 3 seasons who have played 15-man expansive rugby, deliberately so, and have kept to it right to the bitter end, and it's paid with 2 successes.
OK, thanks. Well, let's look at today's teams in a bit more detail now, the backgrounds of the clubs. Garryowen, the home side today, founded in 1884. They played light blue and white. They're twice Irish League champions, in fact, current defending champions. Their leading players, Phil Danaher, 23 caps for Ireland, Paul Hogan, who's captain with just the 1 cap at the moment, and Keith Wood, who, according to Bob Dwyer, the Australian coach, is going to become one of the all-time great hookers. Against them today are Lansdowne from Dublin, older club, founded in 1872. They're in red, yellow and black. They came up from Division 2 2 years ago and were 5th last year. Their leading players include Fergus Aherne, former Irish scrum half, Conor O'Shea, who's been injured this season but is back for his first game today, and Eric Elwood, who sadly is still injured and won't be playing today. It's a match today that is of vital importance to both the teams, as a look at the table will show. There's Garryowen, the defending champions. They've won 3 of their 4 games, but with Shannon in good form, they can't afford to slip up again. Otherwise, they're going to have real problems holding on to that title. And look at Lansdowne. They've played 3 games, 3 difficult games, but they're bottom of the league with no points. It really is crucial that they win today. Well, the Garryowen fans today have come here expecting a win. In these parts, they love life and rugby in equal measures, as Graham Simmons is discovering down near the bar.
Stuart, yes, thank you very much. We're down here pitch side with, well, not exactly a scientific cross-representation of support here. 2 from Garryowen, 2 from Lansdowne. And gentlemen here, Paddy from Garryowen. You look a bit nervous. You worried about today's game, Paddy?
So I was nervous before a game, but hopefully the boys in blue will run the ball today and be home spoils.
OK, we've got Joe next to you from Lansdowne. Joe, they're going to run the ball at you. You worried?
No, I think we're settled. We're a bit more settled than the previous games. Our centres are back in position. Conor O'Shea, the international full back, is in. So we think we should be ready for them in that.
The form book doesn't give you much of a chance, though, does it?
No, form book has been poor, but we've had Eric Elwood, Conor O'Shea and John Sexton, all internationals out of the side. Backline has been particularly put out of sync, and I think that we'll be coming back today. Hopefully we'll do it. The weather is good. We can run at them as well.
You can run at them as well. Let's see what Matt has to say. Matt's from Garryowen as well. Matt, they're going to run at you, apparently.
Oh, yes, but I think we, with Dan Larkin at full back and Philip Danaher the way they're tackling at the moment, we would be pretty worried about the way they run at us today, but I reckon we'll do all right, even though we've been missing Richie Wallace, who's a line, Neville Furlong internationally, but we have good replacements in those boys, so we've every faith in them, like, you know.
Briefly, what do you think is going to be the key to the game today?
I think the key to the game is to get possession from the line-out.
Possession, that's the key. What do you think? Tony here from Lansdowne. Safe trip down?
Very safe, yeah.
Yeah,
we came yesterday just to be on time.
All right, and to enjoy a little bit of the Guinness while you were down here, yes. What do you think is going to be the key to this game?
Well, we're coming off a very bad result last day, and like the lad said, I think if we get some possession on our line out, Paul O'Connor's back today. Paul will win us some ball, and I think we're coming, as I say, off a very bad result, but I'm sure we'll do a lot better today.
All right, gentlemen, enjoy the game. Out on the pitch, Miles Harrison, Jamie Salmon.
And enjoying the sunshine as well. Beautiful day, real factor 10 stuff this. And Jamie alongside me, as you say, Graham. And the pitch as wide as it can be, all 69 metres.
Yes, it certainly is, and there's no excuses not for running rugby today. And I felt sorry for the groundsman, actually, because when we arrived this morning, he was mowing the grass. He's got the smallest lawnmower I've ever seen for such a wide pitch, so I felt sorry for him. Then he just finished, actually, so he's done a day's work already.
Yes, but the grass is looking superb, isn't it? There's no excuse today.
No, it's a good length. It'll take a stud as well, so there's no problems there at all for any of the players. And as you say, there's no excuses not to see a great exhibition of running rugby today.
Just about the width of the pitch, Stuart said last night that with your kicking from midfield, you never make the touchline.
Well, Stuart would say that. Unfortunately, I would always be worried about his little legs lasting 80 minutes on such a wide pitch, so I can understand why he only played here once in his career.
OK, back to Stuart.
Well, I played here once more than Jamie Salmon, which says something about his fitness. Well, we were here 2 weeks ago to see Blackrock, and from that we learned all about the passion of the Irish people and their rugby.
Can't help but enjoy life here. It's the people are super, not only in Limerick but all over Ireland. They've made Leslie and I very, very welcome, and we feel almost more Irish than Kiwi at the moment. I tell you, it's super. Well, that was Blackrock College 2 weeks ago. Music, incidentally, by Hot House Flowers, one of Ireland's most popular bands. But here we have a Garryowen, a mix of old and young. There's a young child painted in the Garryowen colours. I wonder whether he's going to grow up and become a new Keith Wood. Or maybe even that one. That one doesn't seem that interested in the game, though, today, to be honest. And we're going to be meeting some of today's stars. But Garryowen is all about old tradition.
Garryowen Football Club have contested Munster rugby and beyond for 110 famous years. But this ground at Dooradoyle has been their home only since 1958. They used to play at the City Dog Track in Limerick, and the day of the great move didn't go exactly to plan.
If you played rugby, hockey or soccer, you were an atheist, an outcast, and it's called a foreign game. Of course, all these people played the Royal and Ancient game of golf, and it wasn't called a foreign game at all. But when this ground was opened in 1958, the local parish priest was the late Canon Punch, and on account of being the premises of a rugby club, which was a foreign game, he refused to have anything to do with the blessing of the club. And he sent down his curate, Father Hogan. But we were lucky. We might have been lucky he didn't bless it, because we've been very lucky after.
Paddy Reid scaled the heights in rugby. He won the Triple Crown with Ireland in 1948. But it says something about the passion of Garryowen that his fondest memories are nearer home.
I could still feel the atmosphere of the Munster Cup. And the pride in winning it. Especially when we were playing a local side as well. I think, yeah, that would be my greatest memory. My happiest memory, anyway.
He then decided his talent would earn him a living on the rugby league fields of Huddersfield and Halifax. And in 1949, played in this Challenge Cup final at Wembley.
I enjoyed rugby league and I learned a lot from it. And I have happy memories of league as well. I put a lot of guys onto Guinness that never drank it before over there. Guinness didn't offer me any shares for it either, but I did that as well. I'm sure fellas remember me for that, if for nothing else.
These days, Paddy Reid is a happy man at Garryowen, champions again, and he thinks they have a great chance this year as well. We left him to enjoy a surprise showing of that Wembley day in 1949. A man alone with his memories of the time that he played before 98,000 people.
Great memories there for Paddy Reid. Mick, you've got some memories yourself about Munster Cups. You won it 3 times, haven't you? But not with Garryowen.
No, I played with Bohemians across in Thomond Park, co-tenants of Thomond Park with Shannon. And they were very good in the late 50s, early 60s, and we won the Cup 58, 59 and 62. But we had some good players like Bill Mulcahy and Sean McHale and people like that, former internationals, who we all left about 63, and about 7 or 8 of us, so the team never recovered, I think.
Well, Paddy mentioned atheists if you played football or any other sports, Tony. I won't ask about your religion, but you've played with some good footballers yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, it was nice to see a picture there of the Markets Field, because that was the home of Garryowen, and indeed it was the home of sport in the city, because and for the years when I played, Limerick United soccer team played in the Markets Field, but in recent years they moved out to Rathban, which was Old Crescent's rugby ground, and really soccer died a death in many ways in Limerick when that happened. But it's a great sporting town, as I said, and that was a mecca for having said that, Garryowen moved out here in the late 50s, and Dooradoyle has been good to Garryowen, and the record out here has been pretty hot over the years.
OK, Mick, do you think really that the Limerick, it's a small town, isn't it, but 4 or 5 senior clubs, that's really helped the Limerick rugby itself, hasn't it?
Yeah, Limerick is a town of, I'd say, about 100,000 or 120,000 people. And a lot of people say it's very hard to sustain so many All-Ireland League clubs, but the passion for rugby, and the Limerick people follow everything. Hurling, Limerick were in the All-Ireland hurling final this year, and you'd have more rugby people following that, like the hurling people who follow the rugby. They seem to follow everything, but it's hard. Even in Dublin, they feel that there isn't enough room for 8 or 10 teams in the All-Ireland League, either various divisions.
Well, certainly Limerick is a great sporting town. We're going to take a short break. After that break, we're going to come back. We're going to meet some of the leading personalities involved in today's game. We're going to be discussing both the teams, and Mick and Tony are going to be tipping us who they think are going to win today. After the break, we'll see you.
Miss out on all the big movies premiering soon on Sky's 3 great movie channels. Robert Redford, Demi Moore, Indecent Proposal, Stallone, Cliffhanger, Bill Murray, Andy McDowell, Groundhog Day. And as Richard Gere, Jodie Foster, Somersby, Dustin Hoffman, Gina Davis, Accidental Hero. Mel Gibson is forever young, and Arnie's back as the last action hero. The big movies coming soon on Sky.
With a car as special as the new Mazda 323, we don't need to shout. If you'd like to know more, page teletext 888 now. 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 888 now.
Friends Provident has been helping people's dreams to blossom for 160 years. By trusting our experience, they've been able to plan for the future and realize their ambitions. We can help you provide for the years ahead too, with savings and investments, with pensions and with life assurance. Friends Provident, at every stage of your life, Friends provide.
Good morning, and it's another cloudy day.
Some severe congestion on the M6 causing long tailback. I'm sorry I'm not playing on the second call right now, but it is expected.
Freezing temperatures. I'm trying to connect you. Please hold the Free Spirit Holidays.
Hey! Hey! What the hell happened to New York? Welcome to Urban Strike for Sega Mega Drive. From Electronic Arts.
If searching around for a good deal on fuel has you feeling a bit lost, your engine may know something you don't. BP petrol and diesel costs even less than you'd expect. In fact, considering all the experience that goes into BP fuel, we think you'll find our prices very reasonable. So check out the prices at BP. It could save you a lot of running around. BP, on the move.
Good afternoon, welcome back to Sky Sports Live, exclusive coverage of Garryowen, the defending Irish champions, against Lansdowne in the Insurance Corporation League. Well, next week there's been a change of plan. We were meant to be at Sale, but now we're going to be at Bath for the crucial match between Bath, England's champions, against Leicester, runners-up. Both teams are unbeaten at the moment, and it's a game that is going to be absolutely vital to the outcome of the English Courage League. Well, our viewers certainly know enough in England about Bath and Leicester, but let's find out a little bit more about the Garryowen players. We're only 25 minutes from kick-off, and the Garryowen players are now arriving. They're getting off their bus. They've been preparing this morning. Graham Simmons knows all about Garryowen and will tell us just what they're going to be doing today.
Stuart, thank you very much. Yes, as you're more than well aware, Stuart, I mean, the pre-game routines these days for the players seem to be about twice as long as the games themselves. And Garryowen, professional outfit that they are no exception. In fact, it was 11 o'clock this morning. You just saw them arriving, but it was 11 o'clock this morning when they first got together at a hotel on the outskirts of Limerick. We went down to join them. A stroll around the hotel grounds this morning for Garryowen's coach Andy Leslie. But for the players inside, it's strictly pasta, bananas, and no publicity. That's the way they do things here.
It's more of a habit they've got into. I think that would probably be the summing up of it, really. It's what they're used to doing, and I think the important thing with any game and anything you do on a Saturday morning is trying to be as routine as possible.
Now, you've seen a few games in your time. You've played in a few big games in your time. How good a side is this one you're coaching at the moment?
We're a pretty good side. We're competitive. We don't have you know, lots of stars, which is a superb thing. We know our weaknesses.
Why is it good not to have so many stars? Why is that so good?
Well, I think you tend to rely on them a wee bit. Players tend to rely on them. We've all got to get stuck in. We've got to have 15 guys doing the job. If we want to be successful, we can't leave it to Philip Danaher or Steve McIvor or Paul Hogan or that sort of thing. It's got to be 15 guys doing the job.
Well, they may not boast any household names right now, but hooker Keith Wood might well be one soon. The Irish hooker's speed, mobility and excellence so impressed Australian coach Bob Dwyer during the recent Irish tour down under that he said Wood was World 15 material. And Bob Dwyer's not usually wrong.
I hadn't an awful lot of representative experience before that, and being on the tour itself, it's a very kind of unusual atmosphere, and you tend to kind of grow up very quickly, and you get your chance, and you just have to try and, I suppose, take it if you can. And I suppose a lot of things actually went my way.
Well, one or two other players here at Garryowen will be hoping things go their way this afternoon. Steve McIvor at scrum half would certainly be one. He's on the fringes of the national side. And Phil Danaher in the centre would definitely be the other. up against his old team Lansdowne, and very keen to make an impression.
I've been away from Lansdowne, I think, 4 or 5 years now, so every game against them has been quite special. But in the 3 league matches we've played to date against them, all those 3 games have been very exciting and very good matches, and I think we're 2-1 in favour. And we won both matches up there and they won down here 2 years ago, so it seems whatever team is playing away from home has the advantage.
I wouldn't know if I'm a man to watch, but I'm certainly at the moment enjoying the rugby. It's playing with a good team and playing with a pack going forward. It's very easy for a scrum half. And with Andy Leslie's coaching, it's proven very fruitful at the moment, and I'm enjoying it.
One name you certainly can't ignore at Garryowen, or indeed in Limerick, is Hogan. This is Paul, busy selling some German engineering down at Dad Frank's car showroom. Frank currently club chairman at Garryowen, but it's Paul who's the skipper and the motivating influence. And if the competition in the car business is a little fierce right now, well, that's as nothing compared to the rugby rivalries here in Limerick.
Yeah, well, there's 3 senior clubs in town. Those 3 clubs are in Division 1, so it makes rivalry it's very keen, and obviously each team wants to be the best team to come out of Limerick, so you know it makes for great competition between players and supporters alike.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, no one's more aware of the traditions and the rivalries here than the former All Black and now coach here, Andy Leslie. After all, it's not a lot different in New Zealand. And despite the fact that the form book suggests that Garryowen might not be too overstretched today against Lansdowne, Garryowen, of course, defending champions, Lansdowne yet to win this season. Well, Andy Leslie certainly won't be taking the opposition lightly.
All I know is that Lansdowne have no points, and they will be fighting to, you know, retain First Division status, and a team with their back to the wall, as they have probably the most dangerous competitor you can have, or opponent you can have. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to a real stern challenge today from Lansdowne.
Yes, as you saw there, the Garryowen players a little bit camera shy this morning, but I can tell you as they arrived at that hotel, they were looking pretty focused. Complacency was certainly the last thing that seemed to be on their minds. Stuart, back to you.
Well, certainly Andy Leslie there ensured it's going to be a stern test today, so we're going to have a tight game today. Mick, Phil Danaher played for Lansdowne beforehand. We were talking just now what a fine player he is at club rugby, and a lot of English viewers wouldn't actually realise that.
That's right, well, Philip played in school in St Munchin's in Limerick, and I think he was an out half, and Munster School's out half. He came to Lansdowne, he played centre a bit and then full back, and Lansdowne needed a fast full back, and he played very well at full back and played for Ireland at full back in his first couple of caps. But really he was never happy at full back because he never had much defensive qualities or defensive duties in Lansdowne, and I think he moved to the centre and he never looked back after that.
We'll actually see him as a playmaker here today, won't we, for Garryowen, Tony?
Very much so. Just on that point, Stuart, you're making about his school days, I helped coach him here at St Munchin's, and he was a really outstanding schoolboy.
Giving your age away, Tony.
I know, it's frightening, Stuart. But I remember then when he got into the national side first, when he was with Lansdowne, which Mick referred to, and I had a quote attributed to me at the time saying that here was the JPR with speed, and I really thought he was going to be an exceptional full-back. But it never happened for him. The higher he went, the more difficult he found it. But as the viewers will see today, when he's playing for Garryowen, he is the playmaker for Garryowen, and the game evolves around him. And the one thing that annoys me is people are critical of his hands, and he has very, very quick hands, as you'll see today. He's an important cog in their wheel.
Yeah, certainly. Bath played here last year, and Danaher was an outstanding player. Andy Leslie's also an important influence as well, isn't he, Mick?
Oh, he is. He's an outstanding player and an outstanding coach, and I think Garryowen are very lucky to have him.
OK, well, the Garryowen backline there. Danaher, crucial player in the middle. Sheehan and White have changed positions on the wing, but a man here, Tony, that we really need to talk about today and watch is McIvor, who you rate as a promising scrum half.
I do. I see Skyver, as they call him, Stephen McIvor, as a real possibility of an Irish cap this season. He's a fine... His biggest problem is he's got to get into the Munster team. Michael Bradley is the incumbent. He's got to get his position. If he does, I can see him going the whole way. As he said himself there, it's an easier game for scrum half to play, of course, when you're going forward, but he's good going back as well. He's a good scrum half and one to watch.
Well, certainly he's going to be hoping for good ball from his pack. We can see the Garryowen pack there with Paul Hogan back. He's been injured, but he's back. He's got one cap. It's a powerful, heavy pack. It's 10 stone heavier than their opponents today. But the one man who's really hitting the headlines at the moment is Keith Wood, hooker, who we've talked about earlier. Mick, he is an outstanding player. He's seen as the future of Irish forward play, isn't he?
He is, and he could play out half. Stuart.
He actually did when he was younger.
I know, yeah. But he has all the back experience. In fact, I saw him on the telly in Australia taking a ball out half, sidestepping a guy and getting a 50-yard touch with his left foot. And, you know, for a hooker, that's unbelievable.
I think this guy's an exceptional talent. You talk about the Irish team at the moment, and if you were asked to people worldwide to name players on the team, they'd struggle to name a few. Popplewell, Gagan, Elwood, they'll struggle after that. Watch this guy. I believe this fellow's going to change the shape of forward play in Irish rugby, and that's some comment, but I really do rate him very, very highly, Stuart.
Well, certainly if he doesn't get injured.
If he doesn't get injured.
From my limited experience, what he's really been able to do is generate pace, hasn't he, which is so vital. It gives backs a chance to have a target.
Exactly.
He also has very good hands. You'll see him today stepping off quite a bit. Both himself and Paul Hogan will take a lot of ball close in, punching at the Lansdowne back row. But equally, you're likely to see Wood out in the middle of the field, and he has exceptional hands as well. And we saw in the clip there from the Lansdowne game last year, he can sidestep pretty impressively as well.
And it's a heavy pair of props as well, isn't it, Mick?
It is. They seem to have a bit of a stone extra in the front row. I think all round they have outweighing us really. We've kind of a lean and hungry team, but not too heavy.
OK, well, let's go on to Lansdowne. They're 3 stone a man shorter in the props, so they're really going to find life difficult in the scrum. But even though they're bottom of the league, they've played tough games. They've got some big names playing now, and certainly it's a club with some famous names in the past.
In outright fashion, what happened in Garba last night. Those people have no...
Well, these are hectic and historic times for all Ireland right now, and particularly for Irish Foreign Minister Dick Spring. And however busy he is this weekend, he'll be taking more than a passing interest in Lansdowne's visit to Garryowen. It was in 1979 that Dick Spring skippered Lansdowne in the Leinster Seniors Cup, going on to win 3 caps for Ireland at fullback.
He was an excellent fullback in the sense that he had tons of courage. You know, if you're a fullback and you haven't got it in here, child, forget it. Leave it. But he had tons of it, child. There's no doubt about it. And he didn't stay long enough at the top level, you know what I mean, to evaluate really how good he would be, because I think he had other ambitions as well, you know.
Well, Con Murphy should know what it takes to become an Irish international fullback. Now 82 and the grand old man of Lansdowne Rugby Club. He wore the green number 15 on either side of the war, making his Irish debut in 1939 against England at Twickenham.
Nervous, oh God bless us and save us. No, I tell you, you're nervous all right, but it's once the whistle goes, once the referee blows that whistle, you could dance, you could go naked on the touchline if you wanted to, you know. Although there's no way you're going to take your mind off what's happening on the field.
Well, 55 years on, and the Lansdowne tradition of turning out Irish fullbacks continues with Conor O'Shea, 6 caps already, and named this week in the Irish squad to play the USA next month. Actually, it's been a good week all round. His yearly review at the bank, well, that passed off smoothly too. The only problem right now is the form of his club Lansdowne. Played 3, lost 3. They're the Irish equivalent of Northampton.
We get on very well together, the whole bunch of lads, which is always a help. When times are tough, you can just draw on each other and hopefully battle your way out of it. The spirit isn't a problem. I think what we were looking for, much the same, I think, as Northampton and England are looking for, is a little bit of luck.
Well, certainly these aren't exactly the brightest of times down Lansdowne Road. The misty weather matching the mood of a club for whom the results just haven't been coming. Beaten here at the home of Irish rugby by Blackrock, and beaten twice on the road, narrowly by Cork Constitution, comprehensively by Shannon. Well, certainly the fixture schedule hasn't done them any favours, but what's really hurting them right now are their injuries, particularly the Achilles injury to Eric Elwood, who can currently manage little more than a sprightly jog in training. And as a few other top players like Jeremy Guscott have discovered, finding a diagnosis and a treatment for these stress-related injuries can take an age.
They take a lot of time, all right. I mean, hopefully they don't have the same length of time off as Jeremy Guscott had, but yeah, it seems to be maybe there's a lot of strains on a lot of players, and maybe these injuries are picked up in games we shouldn't be playing in.
For everyone else, though, it was the full works at training on a fabulously foggy Thursday night. Backs and forwards running through a series of short, sharp drills to try to get them refocused and refreshed for today's visit to Garryowen.
It was short and sharp. It was nice. It was a good feeling about it, a good buzz out there, you know. It's difficult after 3 defeats, like, to keep the spirits up, but I think everybody's working hard, and hopefully it'll all pay off in the end.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously we're disappointed with our start. We've lost our first 3 matches, but from now we're just taking things fresh, and we're going to go out on Saturday and we're going to knock Garryowen off. I mean, everyone's back down as favourites, but you know, we're going to go out and we're going to surprise a few people.
I'm skipping to you, Henry, you're looking round.
Steve Rooney epitomises the optimism of a young team that feels all is far from lost this season. All right, so they're not likely to be title contenders, but nor are they necessarily going to be relegation fodder.
You saw it last season. There was teams won their first 3 or 4 games. I think Greystones won their first 3 and were relegated. There was teams like Young Munster won 1 of their first 5, I think, but they finished up winning 5 of the 10. So I mean, it's a long way to go, and I mean, it'd be foolish to sort of to write us off, I would think.
Well, if you were a betting man, and there are a few of those over here, you'd have to say the odds are against them. But in Ireland, anything's possible, and certainly Lansdowne will be hoping that's the case today.
Well, fortunately, Lansdowne found their way down through the fog. They're outside now preparing to make that upshot against Garryowen. But one man who's not with them and not playing today, unfortunately, is Eric Elwood. He's touch side with Graham.
Stuart, thank you very much indeed. Yes, we are here with Eric Elwood. Eric, we were just being introduced there to the Lansdowne team on the film, and saw some of you struggling there in training. How frustrating is it, particularly when the team aren't playing so well, to have this injury?
Yeah, it certainly doesn't help. It doesn't help myself. I haven't done anything for 5 weeks now. But I mean, obviously, when the team aren't going particularly well, it's quite frustrating.
You've been included in the squad, haven't you, for the game against USA? Is the hope that you're going to be fit for them?
I really don't know. I've got to see a specialist again on Tuesday because my progress is quite slow. So I'm in the squad for next weekend, and possibly I might have a fitness test that weekend.
Okay.
So I don't really know. I'll have to wait and see, really.
And any idea of how this game might go? We're promised an open running game from both sides.
Yes,
so
I think that's the way Garryowen like to play, and that's the way Lansdowne like to play. Hopefully it's an ideal day for running rugby, so hopefully we'll have something like that.
We've got young Johnny Woods playing at fly half in your space. He's a scrum half normally. Have you given him any tips?
No, not at all. As I was just saying, I think Johnny's a great player, and he's the type of guy that you'll want on your side no matter where he plays. So I don't think we'll have a problem with Johnny today, and hopefully it'll go okay for him.
All right, Eric, thanks for joining us. You go out and join the crowd who are starting to come in now. I think they're expecting something like 6,000 here today. So enjoy the game anyway, Eric.
Thanks very much, Colin. Thank you.
Well, the loss of Eric Elwood is going to be a blow for any team. Mick, how badly are Lansdowne missing Elwood at the moment?
Oh, immensely, because we played Glennon centre at out half for the last 3 league matches, and while he did well, he's a competent player, he was missed in the centre. Whereas with Elwood kicking it out half, he would have kept us in the Shannon game a lot better, and, you know, tactical kicking, we miss him terribly, and his place kicking.
Absolutely. Tony, do you think the Lansdowne situation is a little bit false? They played Cork Constitution away, they played Shannon away and Blackrock at home. It's 3 of the big teams, and now Garryowen. It's an incredibly difficult start for them to the season.
They've had a very difficult opening, and having to come to Limerick twice in the opening 4 weeks is particularly difficult, and the results haven't really gone with them. The other problems they've had are the injuries. They've had injuries to key players in key positions. I think the change today is significant in that Brian Glennon, who is a very good centre three-quarter, has gone back into the centre, where he forms a good combination with David Costello, and they'll be looking, because really that's where Garryowen's based their game around. It's based very much on the Australian principle of taking the ball close to the gain line, the quick hands getting it out to Larkin coming in at third centre, and they will be seeking to block that out today. So I think the fact that he's there is highly significant. Glennon, that is.
Yeah. OK, well, we can look at the Lansdowne team now. It's a highly changed team. There are 8 changes to that side today. It's an incredible backline because only 2 players, Ahearne and Costello, played in their same positions last week. O'Shea is back. He's had a knee injury, and it's his first game of the season. That's going to help Lansdowne. But really, Fergus, it's Fergus Ahearne, Tony, who's got to make them tick, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. I still think he's a very underrated player. People have written him off because he's the old grey fox. He got prematurely grey, but Gussie still has an awful lot to offer. His biggest weakness, perhaps at times, and it's over-enthusiasm, is that if you show him a gap, he'll go bald-headed for it. But he certainly doesn't lack the enthusiasm, and he's made a big difference. Last season, when he came back after injury to Lansdowne, he helped them finish the season on a high, and I think his return this year is very, very important. And his clash with McIvor today certainly should be one worth watching.
Mick, what's Conor O'Shea going to offer the Lansdowne backline today?
Well, he offers them more scope on the wide out. He's a very good man coming into a backline. He has played already this year. He played half the game against Blackrock and went off injured. And then that's when our tale of woe began. But hopefully he's fully recovered, and he should make a huge difference, especially his line kicking and his, you know, general confidence he'll give to the other backs by being behind. We were playing wingers at full back last week and the week before, you know, young people, 18, 20-year-olds. So it should help us a lot. I don't think we'll be beaten by anything like Shannon beat us a couple of weeks ago.
Certainly, they're saying in Lansdowne that Glennon's going to make a difference being back in his rightful position as a centre, Tony.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. And I think equally having Conor O'Shea back will help them at the back, because Paul Murphy, even though Garryowen will run the ball, he'll vary the game and he will stick a few up in the air, but I think Lansdowne have the right man underneath. What I'd like to see Conor do, and I think Mick would agree with this, I'd like to see him counter-attack a little bit more, because he's got tremendous pace. He's blessed with natural pace, and I just think at times he could use it, particularly when he gets the opportunity from loose kicking to counter-attack. I'd like to see him do it a little more. Hopefully he will today, because the conditions are perfect.
Well, certainly the backs are going to rely once again in any game on their forwards. And we can now look at the Lansdowne pack. It's a light pack. It's 10 stone lighter than the opposition. That's where they're going to be struggling. Interesting man at 7 there, Mick, Andy Doyle.
Son of Mick, former international. Doyle and Rooney are 2 excellent players. Cover the field very much. Quinn is the old warrior brought back. I don't think he'll be moving around the place, but he'll be there when things are going bad. He'll be there. Second row. You know what you're saying about the second row? Farrelly, I don't know very well. I saw him in a few matches. He's young from UCC, and he's very promising. Paul O'Connor, we all know well, is a good line-out man. And the front row, Mark McDermott, excellent. Andrew McKeen, well known. But I don't know the other front row. I've never seen him play, so I can't. Maybe Tony Warren knows him. Thanks, Mick.
Well, it's a light pack that's certainly going to be helping Lansdowne. They're going to need it because they want a fast, mobile game. The weather today is absolutely perfect for them. It's dry, 5-mile-per-hour wind. It's possibly even less now, 15 degrees. It's going to give Lansdowne that chance to run the ball. We're going to take a break. We're just minutes from the game, and then we'll be back for the big match, Garryowen versus Lansdowne in the Insurance Corporation League. We'll see you after the break for the kick-off.
Find a blue bag in a packet of Walker's Crisps, Crinkles or Double Crunch and you could win £5, £20 or even the £100,000 jackpot. There are 8 million instant prizes, so let's have a look, me duck. Thank you, Doreen. Lovely girl. Bingo! Now then, where'd I put my wallet? In here somewhere.
OK, what shall we watch?
It's a mark.
Uh-oh.
Now that's enough.
This is my case!
And you can call me Patricia.
Where are we going to watch all that?
On the Family Channel!
Oi!
Pantene Hair Health Update.
Would you believe that friction caused by brushing and combing can actually damage unconditioned hair?
Pantene knows this. The provitamin B5 not only nourishes the roots, it penetrates the whole of your hair. Pantene strengthens and protects against combing damage, leaving it so healthy looking it shines.
It's good to know my hair's protected with this, because I'm not going to stop doing this. Would you?
Pantene, daily treatment for healthy looking hair.
After eating most meals and snacks, plaque pH can fall. Acid can then attack teeth for up to 2 hours, which, as your dentist will tell you, increases the risk of tooth decay. But when you chew for 20 minutes after eating, you produce more of your mouth's natural defense, saliva, which helps neutralize acid within minutes. So chew Orbit or Wrigley's Extra as part of your dental care routine, because chewing is scientifically proven to fight the plaque acid that causes cavities.
From now on, all performance cars are green. Modern cars, silver. Family cars, dark blue. Diesels are red. And older cars are light blue. Esso quality oils are color-coded, so choosing the right oil has never been so simple. Esso Simple.
The place created by legend. The man, a boxing legend.
Champion of the world.
The perfect battleground for 2 undefeated fighters.
We have been expecting
You back.
41 fights undefeated.
Showman.
31 fights undefeated.
The astonishing world tour continues. Can he?
Eubank, you can kiss your undefeated record goodbye. The title's gonna be mine.
And on the same bill, the second world title fight of the night.
It will be a colorful fight.
Baby Jake beats Pretty Boy Lucas. Be there with Sky Sports and be the first to experience the night fighters become legends.
I think I am better.
One night, 2 world title fights tonight at 8, live and exclusive to Sky Sports.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome back to Dooradoyle. It's Garryowen versus Lansdowne in the All-Ireland Insurance Corporation League. It's a real summery day. It's an Indian summer here in Limerick. The fog has lifted and the crowd are basking in the sunshine. It should be perfect weather for a big game of rugby. Mick, you sounded pessimistic at the start. Are you feeling any better as the game's minutes away now? Can your boys pull a sneak shock off?
Well, rugby's a strange game, Stuart. Miracles always happen. I don't think we're favourites, but I don't think we'd be too far away at the end.
Tony, Sporting Index actually think that it's going to be a fairly large margin in Garryowen's favour. What's your view on this?
Well, I got it badly wrong 2 weeks ago in Stradbroke, Stuart, so I'm going to be very careful today. And he's setting me up for another big drop, I can tell you. But I have to fancy Garryowen. They're in form. They play a nice brand of rugby. Lansdowne have been having problems, so all the signs certainly point to a Garryowen victory. I don't think it'll be a substantial victory, but I think it'll be a good game and hopefully a high-scoring game.
Mick, what's it going to do for Lansdowne morale? If they do lose today, 4 straight defeats?
Well, we've played 4 of the best teams in the All-Ireland League from last season, so there's still plenty of time to recover, and we've till January to get all our injuries behind us, so I think we'll stay in the first division this year, hopefully.
Tony, Garryowen need to win today to keep up in pursuit of Shannon. Do you think they can catch Shannon this year?
I do. Fergus Slattery was making the point the last time we were speaking that he thinks it'll be 3 defeats. Shannon are going so well at the moment, you wonder why they're going to lose any games. But they will. There's no doubt they may come unstuck after Christmas, and Garryowen have to stay close. They've already lost to Shannon, which is a big factor, but they'll be there or thereabouts, and as I've said already, they play nice rugby, so hopefully we're going to see that again.
Certainly the Lansdowne scene. What's it in Dublin? Is the rivalry as intense?
No, there's a different... having seen it in Limerick and seen it in Dublin, there's two different things. In Limerick, it's parochial. There's various areas which fight against each other all the time. I mean, on the rugby field. Whereas in Dublin, you don't have that as much.
OK, well, the players are coming out now. Let's go to Graham Simmons down below.
And for Garryowen, led by the captain, Paul Hogan.
Graham's gone, so let's go to Jamie Salmon and Miles Harrison.
Thank you, Stuart. Well, they said the air would be full of expectation and the passion for rugby would be there for all to see. It certainly is. Rugby in this part of the world verges on a religious experience, and looking at early season form, there's a touch of David and Goliath in this match. Champions Garryowen invite Lansdowne without a win into their den. Well, the Garryowen team is a combination of established names like centre Phil Danaher, alongside rising stars such as hooker Keith Wood. He's the talk of Irish rugby, and we can't wait to see him. The back row, it's minus the injured number 8, Ben Cronin. He's another tip for the top, but he broke his jaw in the rather spicy win over young Munster last week. But captain Paul Hogan does play, despite having spent the week with a cast over his damaged thumb. And that's Keith Wood, fit again after a troublesome back injury. Apparently his performance when coming on last week was nothing short of scintillating. So what of Lansdowne? Without a win and without their star. Irish fly half Eric Elwood is still absent with ankle ligament problems, so it's Johnny Wood's turn to try his hand at number 10. But it's a comeback league game for fullback Conor O'Shea. He's a touch of class, this boy, and he'll be one to watch in this match, and no doubt for Ireland over the next few years as well. O'Shea has 7 caps. Our referee is Brian Sterling from Ulster, an international official, and it's Lansdowne, the visitors, in their red, yellow and black, who get us underway at the start of this absolutely vital match for both teams. And here's Jamie Salmon.
Yes, thank you very much. It's a good start by Lansdowne. Good kick-off. Forwards there in abundance. Put pressure on Garryowen straight away. They've got a good position into the Garryowen half.
There we are, the first line out of the afternoon, just outside the Garryowen 22, wearing their traditional light blue and white. It was thrown in by Wood, it was taken in the middle. We must look out for Coughlan and Costello to find second rows. And then the kick away is from fly half Paul Murphy, who's back in the side this week. He has been injured, but he returns for Kearin, who got injured last week. So Murphy straight back into action for his club. And referee Sterling making sure the gaps are there in the line-out. And McDermott, the Lansdowne hooker, another star man in the making, maybe, fighting for reserve spot for Ireland at number 2. But it's Garryowen ball. And there's hands on the wrong side there, but the referee just happy to call up for the scrum. And it's, as you can see, a Garryowen put-in. It's Dick Costello One cap for him, now 30 years of age, going down in the scrum there with the beard. And there you can see the pack weights, and just look at the advantage that Garryowen have got.
As this scrum settles to go down, already Lansdowne number 8, Charlie Quinn, standing off, which is unusual for the first scrum of the game, but he must have confidence in the rest of his forwards.
McIvor waits, and it's the first Garryowen from Garryowen. Now, who can put hands on it? Lansdowne drive over. Looking for it is Ahearne, off to fly half Woods. He's not found touch. Remember, he's a scrum half by trade. A little bit of mishandling was from Dan Larkin, but that's straight down the throat of Conor O'Shea. Now, what can the Irish international fullback do? Well, this is like tennis at the moment. Someone needs to get a grip. Away by White, and at last touch is found, but that was a nervous start by both sides.
Yes, neither wishing to chance their arm in these early stages, especially Lansdowne. It's important they got a good start. There's Andy Leslie, obviously from Wellington, New Zealand, bringing his coaching expertise over to Garryowen, second season here, former All Black captain.
Good hands there from Costello. A little bit scrappy for McIvor. He'll have to work hard as the forwards pile through. Well done, McDermott there, quickly up on the scrum half. And McIvor just exchanges a glance with the second row. I think he'd prefer a better palm back than that.
He almost looked to throw the ball into touch, actually, really, which is a penalty offence. He was under considerable pressure, to say the least.
We seem to have lost the picture at the moment, so I shall keep you as informed as I can, and we'll endeavour to get the picture back. But away from Dan Larkin, the Garryowen fullback, we're on halfway, right on halfway, and it's with Mark McDermott, the Lansdowne hooker. Again, the referee, Sterling, is trying to keep the gaps right there between the two sets of forwards in this line-out. And this is right on halfway, as I say, taken in by Lansdowne. Garryowen 10-metre line. Good play by Lansdowne. This is an aggressive start from their forwards. I understand we have the pictures back. That's good news, and it's good news here for Lansdowne as they go in towards that Garryowen 22 with the high ball from Ahearne, and it's scrum half Ahearne who keeps it going, lays it back. Chance to spin it for the first time in this beautiful weather. They'll take advantage of the conditions if they can. Just jinking off his left boot there was Costello, but he ran right back into trouble, and that, Jamie, was the wrong option.
Yes, it certainly was. It could have gone wide. There's men outside, possible overlap situation, and more importantly, it gives the backs an early chance to get hold of the ball, feel part of the game. And so often sides ignore that. The Lansdowne forwards have got some confidence, taking the Garryowen boys on. That's what they need, Lansdowne, more than anything else, some confidence in their season at the moment.
And they're turning this one round. They'll have to watch it, though, because if it goes beyond 90 degrees, the referee will stop the scrum, but it's penalty for offside against Lansdowne. Away on the far side of the scrum, as you see, the referee just take that extra step out wide to indicate where the offence was. It's a solid boot away. Philip Danaher, former captain of Ireland. And quite a player. Keith Wood to throw again. Goes towards the tail, but again, Lansdowne doing good work at the tail. And credit there to the back row of Quinn, Doyle and Rooney. He's made an impressive start. Off to Woods. Long passes from Costello. O'Shea. That goes left winger Sheehan. He's got a real motor, this guy. But all he has to do there is show his defensive ability.
Well, it was a pity it wasn't the greatest kick by Conor O'Shea. I suppose he's a little bit ring rusty, you could say. First game back from injury, but an opportunity to get the ball out there, and he could have given the left winger a bit of a chance, really, but elected a kick, and he's not really made some yards, but that's about all.
Neither side settled so far.
No, not at all. There's not really the continuity that one would hope for.
But the pressure's certainly on Garryowen if they're to keep their run towards the top going. Remember, Shannon are the unbeaten side in the league. Garryowen having lost to Shannon. But they are the champions, and they know that no side has ever won this league here in Ireland by winning every game in the season. So everyone here is expecting and hoping Shannon will slip up at some point. So Garryowen must keep winning. From their point of view, Lansdowne have to start to win. Played 3, lost 3. Again, pressure at the scrum. McIvor acrobatically away. And then the kick is from Smith. And once again, we almost catch it up here in the commentary position. I want to see some good hands from you in situations like that.
And I've never been known to be brave, and I'm not going to start now, Miles, I can tell you that.
Farrelly there, the young second row for Lansdowne. And he'll be expected to win his fair share of ball in the centre of the line, although big Paul O'Connor may well be the man that they'll be trying to pick out because he's got that extra height. Almost 6'8", O'Connor. Nicely along the line there to Danaher. Danaher, again, though, failing to find touch. O'Shea with a bit of football skill on the floor. Nice control. Jack Charlton would have liked it. And then the chip down the line is good. So O'Shea maybe just starting to settle into his game.
Yes, as we said before, the pattern really hasn't developed as yet. But Lansdowne, I suppose, that they've got to build some confidence. They've got to make sure they play in the Garryowen half, not concede early points or penalties, and take it from there. But it'd be nice to put some backline movements together.
That was Shane Leahy operating at number 8, who took it in. Offside again. The decision going against Lansdowne. Taken quickly. Try and step up the pace now, the home side, I'm sure. McIvor, nicely off from the base. Now, this is Larkin, who is a highly rated player in Ireland, trying to force his way through. It's now McIvor, who's also a hot tip for the future. Good link from White. Wood is there. Look how mobile the hooker is. Driving on, finding himself in the wing position and perfectly happy to take it towards the Lansdowne 22. McIvor with a little loop pass. It wasn't the best of balls away from the base of the ruck, but it'll matter for nothing because the penalty has been given to Garryowen, and it was Wood, the hooker, who made that situation. Fantastic run.
Yes, but he started even before that because of the quick penalty that he took. We see the penalty for offside there from Lansdowne. But he upped the pace by taking the quick penalty from the 10-metre line. And that's what upped the pace of the whole momentum.
That's the distance in front of Kenny Smith, the kicker for Garryowen. And it's about between the 22 and the 10-metre line, so he'll have to strike it sweetly. But this is right in his range, and he's got no problem with the distance, and the direction is spot on as well. And Kenny Smith, who scored nearly 100 points in the league for Garryowen last year, starts the scoring this afternoon. Sweet as a nut.
Yes, it certainly was. Never in any danger of going anywhere else. As soon as they've got their first penalty, they put points on the board, Garryowen, as you'd expect a top side to do. And Lansdowne, really, having had territorial advantage, will be a little bit miffed to go 3 down. But they're going to have to show some character.
Just puts the doubts in the mind, having had, as Jamie says, territorial advantage in the first part of this half, and then to concede the penalty, and then, more importantly, to concede the points. Dick Costello takes in. Murphy.
think the key thing from Lansdowne point of view, every time they've got into Garryowen's half, they've given away silly penalties or free kicks, which has relieved the pressure for Garryowen without them having to do anything constructive themselves.
Cut the line to 2, and watching that cut in the line out, the coach there of Lansdowne, Steve Dowrick. Woods takes it on scrum half style. That's his trade, as we said before. O'Shea links outside. Charlie Quinn's doing some good work there, but referee spots the touch judge and the flag that goes up. Steve Dowrick hasn't been the best of starts for him, has it, at the club? 3 played and 3 lost.
Another Kiwi, it has to be said. Quite a popular trend over here, appointing New Zealanders to coach their teams.
Costello is starting to win some good ball there. But Lansdowne scrum, because it just wasn't quite straight. Two scrum halves there on the far side of the scrum. Both good players. Ahearne, 16 caps to his name for Ireland. Off to Woods. Woods. The Garryowen against Garryowen. In comes Larkin, solid as a rock.
Well, the centres didn't really help Johnny Woods there. They didn't really chase the ball with any vengeance or any purpose behind them. It meant an easy catch and the clearing kick as a result. But the centres and the wingers have got to put pressure on kicks and make life as uncomfortable as possible for Larkin or the wingers if they're taking the high ball.
What the game needs now is a better platform from the forwards. More cohesion in the line out, more cohesion at the scrum, and we might have the base to launch the backs on what is a beautiful, summery autumn day. Look how deep there the fly half Woods is standing away from Ahearne, so you can expect a good solid pass from Ahearne. There he is, spinning it away along the line. Little chip in behind the defence, but offside is the decision back in centre field. And it's a penalty to Lansdowne. And this will be their first chance to get some points on the board.
Well, it wasn't the greatest of kicks, and it was fortunate, really, that the referee had given the penalty, because Lansdowne would have paid heavily for that poor kick. Conor O'Shea wasn't even the back line, so there's no way he could do anything else with it. But I think Lansdowne have got to be a bit more positive in their approach, and they're going to risk it a little bit more and move it through their backs. I don't think they can take them on up front and expect to win this game. I think they've got to use their backs and get Conor O'Shea, who we can see preparing for his kick, into the game, into the action, and use his all-round skills.
Offside was the decision, and O'Shea is the kicker. As you can see, another left-footed kicker. It's way off the mark. That's just one he's got to put it straight out of the mind. That didn't happen as far as he's concerned.
Well, corner flag was nearly in danger then, wasn't it?
Yes, bad slice. A bit like me at the 18th this week. Terrible. Lost it on the 18th. I was 1 up. This is Lansdowne. And that's out on the full from Aherne.
The other thing that is making the game rather stop-start is the poor tactical kicking. You know, Ahearne's had a couple, I mean, that have gone straight into touch, and there's been slices from clearing kicks and what have you, and it doesn't really help the situation at all.
Wood throws, and this time it's Coughlan who does well to take at the front. Murphy, he just got it away as Doyle was flying through. You can also see the star, the 5-pointed star there on the Garryowen jersey. And the 5 points represent the 5 parishes of Limerick. They're proud of their club here. They're proud of their tradition. And they've got the better start by having the 3 points so far. McDermott was caught on the wrong side that time. That's the reason for the penalty. Up steps Danaher. Gets through a lot of kicking, Philip Danaher, in these situations, and you can see why.
Again, it came from a Lansdowne mistake, the front of the line out. Garryowen, they got down this part of the pitch and scored last time. Let's see if they can win some decent line-out ball and use the backs.
It would be nice to see the backs. Let's see what's on offer along the line. And it's good movement as well, and that pace was Larkin. It's chipped on, but it's gone forward.
Well, the back move didn't really work out, but at least they were running straight. Larkin came into the back line straight, which is crucial because it gives space on the outside. And even though it didn't work, at least they've got the midfield of Lansdowne thinking.
Well, the line of running in the backs was the major topic of the rugby club with Jamie this week. And you never know, Garryowen might have been watching, because Larkin hit the line at pace, and here he is now, recovering on halfway and moving forward inside that Lansdowne half. Players on the ground, you see there's the problem there from both teams, and the referees will be very quick to step in and blow this season. That's the instruction, and referee Sterling, who's an international referee, a quick blast on the whistle there, which didn't go down too well with some of the supporters on the far side, but that's the instruction. He will stick to it, I'm sure. Keep watching McIvor, this scrum half. Very highly rated, and it'll be very interesting to see how he plays this afternoon. Gets the ball away there to Murphy. Mismove in the centre. Danaher finds his man. This is Sheehan, who scored tries last week. Driving forward goes Danaher again, having put in the initial pass that put the winger away. Straight in support there, as was Larkin, who takes it on. Good cover, though, from Lansdowne. Give them credit. They've managed to rip it free as well. Ahearne back to Woods. That's a beauty. Said this chap wasn't a fly half, but no sign of it there. And it has been a problem for Lansdowne, the fly half position this year, with them having to move Glennon, Brian Glennon, the international centre, into number 10 in the absence of you-know-who, Eric Elwood. Keith Wood throws. Costello got one in the back, but also got hands on it. Lansdowne on the wrong side, penalty.
And once again, they get down into Garryowen's half and give away a penalty. They're not helping themselves at all, Lansdowne, in any shape or form.
Danaher up again to take the kick. We're getting some better line kicking now from both sides. Wood's moment to go, and there Danaher. And because it was a penalty, it's the Garryowen throw to the line out. McIvor got a nice bounce there, turns back inside, finds Shane Leahy. McIvor again. This is Ward at pace. Look at him take the first line of cover. He's a fearless runner. But whoever arrives at the scene after the tackle must stay on their feet. And certainly Garryowen didn't there. Now, in centre field again. But presumably offside, yes, that's the decision. We're halfway through the first half.
He gave the initial penalty for Wood passing the ball off the ground. He was tackled and held, and he still went through with the pass. It wasn't an immediate reaction. I think that's what the penalty was for. He doesn't have to take the ball at pace, doesn't he?
Great battering ram. Well, let's bring in Stuart Barnes to get Stuart's comments on this opening 20 minutes or so.
Well, Miles, certainly at the moment, I think if I was an Irish selector, I'd be thinking Keith Wood was the international back and not Conor O'Shea. He's got the pace. O'Shea looks really out of sorts at the moment. Lansdowne have got to pick themselves together, and their outside half has got to get a lot flatter if they could get into this game, Miles.
Exactly. And remember, Wood is a hooker. He's got tremendous pace and tremendous potential as well. He's suffering from a back injury, but returned last week, and he was astounding, apparently. It's Johnny Woods. Stuart was mentioning just standing too deep. penalty again. Got to keep it straight. Was the referee instruction there to the rather youthful Lansdowne front row. And some good hands here, and they've got an overlap. Great chance. Danaher. Oh, just look at him go. He needs support, but he should really have gone for the outside option, and the penalty has been given away. There was a massive overlap there, and it wasn't used.
Well, Fuller Danaher, if he sees that again, will realise what a golden opportunity he's given away here, because there was 3 or 4 men on his outside, and he went to go all the way on his own. There's only one other man outside him from Lansdowne, and there it is. He's given away a penalty as well.
Well, during his career, Danaher has made many an effective run for both club and country, but that time, as Jamie says, all wrong.
Hey, Giant! The last person to expect to do so, with his experience.
Still, he's a hero here, and it would be wrong to criticise him too much, because he's been a great player for Garryowen. Larkin's kick. There is Dan Larkin. Interesting confrontation between Larkin and O'Shea. O'Shea very much involved in the international picture. A lot of people think that Larkin could get himself towards international honours. He's 27 years of age now. Short line out forced to Fergus Ahearne. And then he was ensnared by the Garryowen forwards. He's in there somewhere. There he is. Quinn took it on. Now Aherne. Woods along the line. The kick's not a good one again. A cross-field kick there from Lansdowne. That was Glennon giving the ball away, and that was Larkin clearing.
It's a dreadful kick, really. I mean, he should have taken his man on and committed somebody. Why just kick the ball away? Look at it. It goes straight to hand. He could have taken the man on. It was a good catch, mind. But, I mean, he's just giving the ball away, and now suddenly Lansdowne are back in their own half.
We certainly have had the opportunities, the Dublin side. That's a good catch. He was pushed as well. That's the reason for the penalty. Conor O'Shea, the right side for him, with the left boot. But that's the wrong kick. Well, Larkin's not that forward, surely, yes? My goodness me, that's coming into the box again. They're testing us out, aren't they, with our handling skills? I think they must have seen us trying to pick us out every time. But serious now, because this is a great situation for Lansdowne. Mistake was from Larkin. Can Lansdowne make Garryowen pay? Both packs know the importance of this scrum.
There's a big blindside here. Conor O'Shea in there is ready to come into the blindside. He's got the winger outside him. He's got about 15 yards to the touchline. Looks as though that's the way they're going to go.
Look, Larkin's just drifting across to cover. That's solid enough. Quinn needs to make it available quickly. Well, it's driven on by McDermott, in fact, getting the extra yard, but where's Ahearne going? He's just going straight back in there. And if he has the ball robbed off him, as you can see, he was losing the ball. The inclination is to infringe, and the penalty goes away. Ahearne should have used his backs.
Couldn't agree with you more. He didn't need to take it on at all. A board had taken it on. Ahearne should just let it go out to the backs. Criminal, really.
Come on, Dave Moore.
Good one from Danaher.
I don't know how many times it is that Lansdowne have been in Garryowen's half and given away penalties. It must be 4, 5, 6 times by now.
It's been a total waste. Wood was just off the mark with that line out. To engaged there, the two front rows. Interesting confrontation in the front row with Paul Spain, Keith Wood and Kieran Ronan for Garryowen. They're the three standing up after that second attempt to engage, and they're battering in Enda Bone, Mark McDermott and Angus McKeen. Again, Garryowen confident that they've got enough firepower in that scrum, because standing off is number 8 Shane Leahy, the nearest man to us there, but free kick goes Lansdowne's way.
This is where Ahearne's got to be quick. He can't kick to touch, but he's taking an Asia for taking this free kick.
Woods pops it up for Enda Bone, making his league debut for Lansdowne. The young prop. Woods again. O'Shea almost straight in front of the kicker, had to take all the pace out of his run through, but it didn't matter because the kick was far too long from Woods.
Well, I know he's playing out of position, young Woods, but I mean, he can't just waste possession like that. It was reasonable ruck ball. Didn't really attack it with pace from the blind side. And I just think the Lansdowne are going to take man on man a bit more here with ball in hand, because their kicking is not good enough to get them territory close to the Garryowen line.
Murphy with the restart, and penalty for a little bit of obstruction there.
I'm going to get tired of saying it, but it's another penalty. And again, it's for no reason whatsoever. I mean, he's purposely barged into the Garryowen player. And look, Garryowen, here you are, you see it here. Number 3, there he is, in there, just charged straight in. Ludicrous situation.
Angus McKeen was the culprit. This is Paul Hogan, the Garryowen captain, led them to the league title last year. This is Larkin, who we've already seen can motor, but kicked just too far in front of the chasing winger support from Dan Larkin.
Well, I'll be interested to see what Barnsley and the studio guests think at half-time, but I just think there's a reluctance at the moment for the players to take the opponents on with ball in hand, and every time there seems to be a contact situation looming, they seem to kick it on, chip it on, grubber it on, whatever. They don't seem to have that confidence to take the players on at the moment. Larkin had plenty of space to do so there.
O'Connor won it. Ahearne off to Woods. Johnny Woods, who's the brother actually of Niall Woods, who scored that lovely try in our live match on Sky 2 weeks ago when we watched Blackrock take on young Munster. This is Garryowen Lansdowne, and it's yet really to spark, but maybe something now in the centre as Glennon combines with Costello. They can win it. They've got options both sides. Aherne realises where his fly half is, but then decides to use the boot, get a bit of luck from the bounce, and Fergus Aherne, who was trying that at training during the week, lands it on the punt, I suppose, is what we say over here, certainly on a sixpence.
Well, he's got them in a great position, very close to the Garryowen line, and if they can just snatch this line out ball, they may have a chance.
Well, they can't snatch it, and credit to Mick Coughlan, who leapt into the sunlit sky to bring that one down. McIvor, tight and under pressure, relieves that pressure. Steve McIvor, mentioned Blackrock College a moment ago. He was a student there, but now playing his club rugby away from Dublin and down here in Limerick.
18, apple and step.
McDermott throws. Oh, what was that for? I think offside again. As you can see, they've been flooding through the gates here today. Absolutely love their rugby here. Not sure whether they're enjoying the start of the match that much, but it's tense and it matters, and they're desperate to win.
Well, I tell you what, Conor O'Shea is desperate to strike this ball a little bit better than he struck the last one, because it certainly wasn't a kick reminiscent of an international player, his last effort.
It was offside against Paul Spain. And this is Conor O'Shea. Remember his last attempt? It was quite simply woeful. Struck it well, but no flags.
Well, two expensive misses, really, from Conor O'Shea. That one should have been the score to level it. And that's 0 from 2 now. And that's the occasion they miss Eric Elwood, isn't it?
Yes, they have an option. They could use winger Mickey Kearin. And with O'Shea having been out for some time injured, remember he had that knee operation in August. And obviously he's not really got a rhythm yet with his kicking, and it could be that we see Kearin quite early on. We'll be going through the mind of Fergus Aherne, who puts the ball into the scrum now. Steve Rooney, one of the fittest guys in Irish rugby, drives on. And their support again from McDermott. That was better from Lansdowne. Offside Garryowen. Surely they'll fancy their chances here. This is a penalty right in front of the post or just off centre.
I may be overcritical, but you know it could have been good ruck ball for Lansdowne then. I thought Brian Sterling just blew up a little bit too soon. They could have got the advantage. He could have played it on. He didn't play any advantage at all there. Lansdowne had a possible ruck ball situation with men outside, and I just thought he blew up a little bit early there. You can always come back to the kick.
O'Shea, pressure on him now, that there's no doubt. If it goes over, it's only just gone over. And relief for Conor O'Shea.
Well, territorially, they deserve to get back on level terms, Lansdowne. Conor O'Shea, certainly much relieved man. A much better kick. Seemed to keep his head down a bit more, follow through the ball. A couple of the golden rules when kicking. I'm sure Barnsley will give us his tuppence worth of goal kicking at some stage.
All level then. That didn't go 10 metres, did it? I don't think so. So back to the centre spot for the scrum option for Lansdowne. As you can see, the centre spot has been turned into a star today, rather appropriate, with that being the Garryowen club badge.
We can see the Lansdowne backs lined up all on the left-hand side. Woods is coming to the right there now.
Just 6 minutes until the interval. And Lansdowne are back in the game.
Well, that's a new move up that I've never seen before from halfway. Getting a number 8 year kicking for you from a scrum that you can go both ways for. Ahearne pops it off.
Just for a minute, I couldn't believe my eyes there. It was right, it was Charlie Quinn. Off to Murphy, he's under pressure again, but he sneaks it through the middle quite nicely there.
Somebody on the Lansdowne side is going to wake up pretty soon to the fact that they keep kicking the one under touch and therefore giving Garryowen the throw. Garryowen are winning their own ball pretty comfortably in the line-out. i.e. keep the ball in your hands.
Tense atmosphere around the ground. McDermott was flapping there at the front of the line out. It's Garryowen ball, and it's Garryowen from Murphy. Well taken, Kearin. O'Shea on the loop. Straight down the throat of McIvor. That looked high. Penalty has been given. I don't think it was particularly malicious. It was just a mistimed, just a bit of mistimed play by Conor O'Shea as he tried to swivel. Taken short. Now a real McCoy from the home side. It's flying about anywhere. It's gone right towards the Lansdowne line. O'Shea then finds a reception committee meeting him. Just interesting there, poor Hogan holding his left hand and wincing a little. He's damaged a thumb. And he had a cast on this week, and that was just being removed yesterday. Wood throws. Important time to score this. Oh, look at the drive. Costello made the catch, and they're almost there, but the penalty's gone the other way.
Double movement, I think it was. I think it was a double movement just before the line.
That's why it was given. Let's take a closer look. Good catch at the front by Costello. He laid it off. And let's see what happens here.
Let's go again, Rooney, come on!
Definite double movement.
Quite correct, referee. Quite correct, Jamie. Let's have a look now at this line out, though, because Lansdowne, having got themselves back into the match, will be desperate to get to half-time. And as you can see, Garryowen statistically should win the line out, but not if they're using the elbow.
Come on, Garryowen, lift it up!
O'Shea kept it low, made sure of his touch. Here we are in Ireland this week. Next week, we have a change of plan. We kick off in terms of the programme at 2 o'clock, and look at that. Bath against Leicester exclusively live. You cannot miss it if you like your own.
Just a quiet game in the West Country.
That is a must. Whatever you've got in your diary, just cross it out now.
Let's see if Garryowen, in the last moments of the first half, can use their backs to good advantage. They're lying incredibly deep.
Look at that diagonal.
Look how deep they are. Look at that line there. Look at that depth. That's ludicrous. They're never going to get anywhere near the gain line.
Murphy spins it out to Danaher. It might work. Wide onto Sheehan. Sheehan at pace. Covering his Kearin, made the tackle. It was unusual. And they've got the penalty to follow as well.
Great move. I mean, I've never understood Irish backline moves. They completely stuffed me out of sight, I must say. A super move, created the overlap superbly. But their alignment certainly fooled everyone, including yours truly. I have to hold my hand up.
There you can see. Eventually got its way out to Sheehan, who'd swapped wings. And a bit of a scrag there from Kearin. And over the top we go. It's difficult because of the angle. He's right out towards the far touchline. But he's a good kicker, Kenny Smith. Over 300 points in the 4 years of the league here in Ireland. Doesn't bother about distance. He knows he's going to get that. Full marks again to Kenny Smith.
Good time of the match to score two, just before half-time. It's only a small lead, but Lansdowne, they can't get their noses in front at all.
But they're still very much involved in this match. Prophets of Doom were saying Garryowen to win by 20 plus. That was based on the fact that they're the champions and Lansdowne had played 3, lost 3, but the atmosphere at training at Lansdowne this week was one of a fair amount of optimism that they were going to try and pick themselves up before the deep winter break in the Irish League. Andy Leslie, because of that kick, will be the happier of the two coaches. The former All Black goes away onto the field to have a word with his charges. Of course, the coaches allowed on to talk here, and he'll be saying, try and keep it going, but use that ball to better effect. Of that, there's no doubt. Lansdowne will try and run it in the second half as well, and it's as close as that.
Sky Sports goes big time in November.
Always strive for higher peaks.
So if you think England can outplay skillful Nigeria and you want to see the under-21s face the Republic of Ireland, stay tuned. If you thrill at the thought of a wrestling jamboree, stay up for Survivor Series. If you love watching the underdogs battling for FA Cup glory, join us for the first round. And if you think England can bring back the Ashes, don't miss a ball. It all happens on Sky Sports and Sky Sports 2 in November.
Where's Alex?
Taking those drawings to the Frasers in Edinburgh.
Personal touch. Good. Alex?
Jones Brothers. Glamorgan. Gothic Arts Project.
Jones Brothers. Good.
Overseeing the shipment of artifacts from Dieppe.
Dieppe? Excellent. Never shown this much enthusiasm before.
Never had an escort SI before.
Star Wars.
I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
The Empire Strikes Back.
We would be honored if you would join us.
And Return of the Jedi. The Star Wars trilogy, digitally remastered for a price you'll love. Now you can possess the Force.
What goes up beds in lakes and blanks? They're awake and saying thanks. Super Fresco makes it easy by Graham and Brown.
Good afternoon, welcome back to Dooradoyle Limerick. It's 6-3 to Garryowen, the champions at half-time, in a game that is a lot tighter than most people think. 2 penalties sweetly struck by the Guinness rep Kenny Smith to 1 by Conor O'Shea. With me in the studio, Tony Ward, Mick English. Not a great first half. There was one moment, wasn't there, where Garryowen really showed why they're champions. Break by Phil Danaher. Should have done a little bit better, but some beautiful play to take it on, Tony.
With some good lead-up play, particularly from Stephen McIvor, as we'll see here. He succeeds in taking 2 players out there. And this is good. Garryowen haven't come alive. Again, we see the quick hands there from Keith Wood. Garryowen haven't really come alive yet, but here they run with some purpose. And Philip might have given a little bit earlier. It's always a difficult one, that, Stuart, as you know. Yeah. Do I give? Do I go on a little? Look for my men to come through and take it. The wrong option, as it turned out. He was caught from behind, and in fact, they actually gave away a penalty there at the end. But it's been a poor half overall, I must say.
Yeah. Mick, this is how the move broke down. It was lovely play beforehand. What would you have done, midfield player, in this situation?
I think he should have passed it on. With 3 men outside him free, well, 2 free anyway, I think they could have scored if he gave it on. But I thought he thought he would make it himself at the time. And
good angled running by Ahearne there on the wing, in fairness to him. He got between the outside man and the ball carrier, which obviously is the objective of the defending winger.
One of the great problems, Philip went too far there, but there's so many times today, haven't there been, when faced with defenders, players have been happy to kick the ball through, as Jamie said, rather than actually buy space and keep the ball alive, so there's no continuity in the game.
Yeah, Jamie called that well. There's been far too much putting the foot to ball. There was another case, I remember Dan Larkin go down the side, and there seemed to be a possibility of a 3-2 overlap, and the first thing came to mind was sticking the ball on the ground and sticking it through. And it's a pity, because as we said before the game, the conditions are perfect today for running rugby, so there's no excuse really. That's been the most disappointing aspect, from both sides, I have to say, not just from Garryowen.
Well, certainly, the second half approaching now. Lansdowne are going to need to get flatter and really attack the game. Let's get back to our commentators. There's a big crowd ready for a second half. It's bound to improve. Let's join Jamie Salmon and Miles Harrison in the commentary box.
As they're baying away, shouting encouragement and trying to lift their team. Bit of late rubbing down. There's Andy Leslie there, just about to move out of the picture. The Garryowen coach, who didn't really look a happy man talking to his team at half-time. I'm sure he was expecting more. So here we go for a second half, which really could make or break Garryowen's championship hopes this year, the champions. Aherne is shouting, don't move it, just hold it. Woods was quite lucky the way the ball just drifted past Larkin, otherwise it was straight to the fullback. Now they have hit us. Third time lucky.
I have the match ball in my hand, I have to say.
Shall we ask them if they want it back?
And Miles Harrison missed it again.
Why couldn't you take a catch like that in your playing days?
So I never played fullback, that's why.
Aherne looking for Woods, but he'll have to look out for the centre Costello, but that's drifting in behind the winger. And again, it was a poor attempt at a drop goal.
Certainly was. He won't be trying that again in a hurry if I was him. I'll tell you what, if he gets to a court session, he's going to get fined pretty heavily for that. Again, the corner flag in grave danger as opposed to the post.
But it's Lansdowne on the offensive. Good catch again from O'Connor. Done a lot of good work, really. Woods looks for O'Shea. The tackle was vital, but the ball is there. A bit more aggressive and get in for it there, Lansdowne. But they've got a chance to move it now, as Farrelly, the big second row, looks back inside. Taken on by Angus McKeen. This is just short of the Lansdowne line, and they've got a great chance if they look for Ahearne back inside to Woods. Oh, he dropped it. Dropped it at the vital moment.
He was overstretching a bit. I mean, as we see it coming down the blind side, he really had to stretch for young Woods, and he was getting tackled into the corner as well, and the tackle, he just lost it, taken out of his hands. If it had been a forward, he might have got in.
Games turn on moments like those. But it's still not danger over for Garryowen, although with a catch like that from Coughlan, they should clear. McIvor, only one thing on his mind, fine touch.
I know we played on Keith Wood a bit in this game, but I tell you what, when you're under pressure on your own line, people tend to forget the actual hooker who's got to throw the ball and deliver it exactly on the spot. And while it was a good catch, it was a perfectly delivered throw as well.
It was a good catch. Mick Coughlan, still a student. Irish League winner last year, of course, and lots of time on his side to develop his career. Woods, little jink was good from the fly half. But has he turned the right way? He has. Ahearne, no fly half, of course, has to go himself. This is Fergus. Ahearne cleared through. Oh, he'll be absolutely delighted with that score. It seemed to open up for him, and he took advantage so well. Lansdowne get the try that they were denied moments ago. The cover wasn't there, you have to say that, but credit to the scrum half. Didn't he do well?
He certainly did, and the key thing is you can't buy dummies. You've got to be, first man round's got to be your man. And certainly, Dara O'Sullivan bought the dummy and paid the price.
Just reward for Lansdowne, because they've come out in the second half, the better of the two teams. And this has to go over, doesn't it? O'Shea, not a problem. Now we've got a match.
We certainly have. And this is the key moment. That's O'Sullivan there. He's the man that was responsible. He's going to take the first man round.
All of a sudden, the temperature here is on the rise. It's fairly warm anyway. It's a lovely day, but the heat is on. The vocal support is rising with it. Woods is giving it away again. Now, that was almost a knock-on, but the ball went back according to the referee.
Interestingly enough, the 4 games they've had this season, Garryowen, they've won 3 away and lost their only one at home. So they can't get their home form right yet this season, and they certainly won't want to lose another home game today, that's for sure.
It was a big loss as well. It was against Shannon, who lead the Irish League, unbeaten so far. But you feel that they're trying to stamp their authority here as champions, but just as I say that, Wood, of all people, is the man to knock forward.
Yeah, I don't think Steve McIvor saw him coming. A few lads, I think, we spotted our camera fairly early in the day. I don't think they've watched the game so far. I think they've been looking at the camera waiting for their golden moment.
All with their club jerseys on. Tell you what, Woods is growing in confidence, isn't he?
Well, for a scrum half, he's done remarkably well, I think. I mean, he's got a nice little jink on him, prepared to take the gap or have a go for it, certainly. And he's certainly done well, because it's not easy for anybody to put on Eric Elwood's shirt, even at club level.
Keith Wood. His father Gordon played 29 times for Ireland. Get the feeling that Wood will surpass that. Here's feeding off again. Long pass as they try and move it out wide. This is better hand, this is better movement, and on the burst is Aidan White. It was a nice jink inside O'Shea, who really should have done more. McIvor's knocked on.
Good hands in midfield though, wasn't it? Much better hands, Danaher included. Great to the overlap. Thought he could have probably gone on the outside, really. I don't know if he's got a left foot step. There was certainly 15 yards on the outside.
Yes, having broken the first line of cover and the missed tackle from covering Conor O'Shea, all of a sudden the second line was there. Larkin get a foot in touch, I think.
Foot in touch, no doubt about it. Right decision by the touch judge. Foot on the line is out.
Farrelly, young man, involved in a right royal battle now. McIvor's reverse pass, but offside was the decision, so penalty for being on the wrong side. McIvor takes it quickly, links with Wood, taken on by the back row. Hogan drives through, the captain. Made it available as well. Hands on the wrong side, penalty. McIvor sniping again. They call him McIvor the Skiver, and you can see why. Leahy, though, is wrestled into touch by Aherne.
Well, it's good now, isn't it? Because Garryowen have got to up the pace. They're going to score, trying to get back in this game, really. Well, they've got plenty of time. They could do it by penalties, but they'll want to get a couple of tries on the board, alleviate the pressure for later on in the game. Lansdowne got to retain their composure, keep cool, not make any rash decisions, and not give away penalties in key areas.
The whole thing is now being played at a totally different pace.
It's often the case for a home side. It needs them to be stirred into action rather than go from the outset.
Like a wounded animal.
Yeah, they didn't need to get wounded to produce the goods. That's the difference. Should be the difference.
Garryowen put in. McIvor waits. Goes short side. Neat little reverse ball to Hogan. Back inside to Leahy. That was a rehearsed move, and that there was no doubt. Good cover, though, from Lansdowne. Desperate tackles fly in, but McIvor got it off, and he goes in again. Off to Murphy. Murphy with the long pass. Danaher needs support. Sheehan against his man. They're throwing everything at Lansdowne here, and they have got the penalty as their reward. Offside Lansdowne, and a rather stray fist there from, I think it was Danaher, who may have just pushed one of the Lansdowne players off the ball, but it was nothing too untoward, and it's a penalty.
There we see Lansdowne, as we said in the first half, kept on giving away penalties. It's the 12th they've conceded. More importantly, it's right in front of the posts.
Here's Smith. There's been no doubting his ability with the boot this afternoon. And Kenny Smith has a 100% record, but his side still has work to do. How will Lansdowne respond?
They've got to respond positively. They're not going to hold on to 10-9 for the last 30 minutes of the game, 25 minutes, whatever it is. They've got to be positive.
It's much, much better now. McIvor off to Wood. Now look how Wood just pushes them off. That's two men he's beaten. Inside is Hogan. Spirited stuff from the home side, and it was good play and good hands from the pack, but of course it came to an end
thought that was unlucky too. I thought it came on somebody's head. I didn't think it went forward. We'll see it again here. Look at that sidestep from Wood. I mean, Stuart Barnes was quite right when he said in the first half he's more like a full-back sidestepping away. As the pass goes here, I thought it hit the air on the head. That's really unfortunate for Garryowen, I thought.
Should have been allowed to keep possession there, or try and at least get it back and continue the move. Unlucky for Garryowen, but they've responded well to the ball being thrown down by Lansdowne's early try in this second half, and it's a much, much better match now. Cut to 2. It's evening up, isn't it, in the line-out?
Yeah, good option, good option. Now they've got it too.
Ahearne, neat little dummy. Someone needs to put hands on it. It's Rooney. Now it seems all players on the field are just stepping up a gear. Woods, almost a hint of an overlap there, but the centre, Glennon, took his eye off the ball and paid for it. Looks to be a nasty injury on that far side. Could well be winger Sheehan. Trying to work through the bodies there just to see. Maybe a naught on the back, so that hints at fly-half Murphy. But let's have a look there at Rooney, who's receiving treatment. He was charging through the middle and took quite a whack on the shoulder. So a break in play for both sets of players, and with the increased pace, they'll be thankful for the break. Rooney's okay. Good work by physio Leahy Jennings, and a great relief to coach Steve Dowrick. And I'm pleased to say we're all okay. Let's hope that break in rhythm doesn't affect the match. Well, they've got it back on their side, by hook or by crook. Aherne with the left-footed kick. It's a nasty one for Sheehan.
Good vision by Aherne. He's just keeping his forwards going forward. As I said before, Lansdowne have got to remain positive. They can't just sit on this lead. They've got to get another score. I'm not sure the Lansdowne midfield backs are really up to it. To be perfectly frank with you, their decision-making has not exactly been of first-class standard.
But scrum half Aherne has managed to find the gap. Just when they need a good ball, it's not coming back for Lansdowne.
What's been impressive with Garryowen is key line-ups that they've had to win in their own 22. They've won them all, and won them all comfortably.
Back down to the cut line out to 2. McDermott picking out his man. Tap back was from O'Connor. Woods looks back inside for pack support from McKeen. Knock on. Sender Byrne playing his first match, and as you can see, a lovely picturesque setting here. Those trees, a beautiful green with those autumnal shades just starting to take a hold behind them. And to emphasize again, it's a beautiful day. He's turning far too far there. Gone beyond 90 degrees. Almost round to the other side of the protractor then. McIvor prepared to take on the back row. That was cheeky. And he'll look for it again, and he'll look to use the backs. This is Murphy, chances. Danaher along the line from Smith. Can Larkin see the space? He cut back inside, wrong option again. But that was a bit loose from Garrett Ahearne. All he did was put the pressure on. Though the initial knock forward was off a Garryowen hand, so it will be the Lansdowne put in. as Larkin, cutting back inside. Did have support out to his right. Aherne hits the chest of Woods. Woods slicing badly. Who's going to be first to react to the wingers? It's Sheehan who takes the catch. And that's Dara Sullivan looking for it and breaking away on the far side. And that's Mickey Kearin, whose father actually played football for the Republic of Ireland. So a sporting tradition in the family. They made one cap in the early 70s and it finished Austria 6, Republic of Ireland 0. He never played again, but how times have changed in Irish football. Still, rugby is our main diet on a Saturday afternoon, and this now is a rugby match. It's really developed into a contest.
It certainly has. I'm a little surprised that Lansdowne aren't sticking with their two-man line-outs. They've won the last 2 or 3 of those. They've reverted now to a full line-out. It'll be interesting to see if they can get some quality ball to put through their backs.
Woods. That's useful. That's very useful. It's a nasty one for the winger White, and can they react? Aherne is there, needs to fight off his man. O'Shea did well to keep it going. It was almost forward, but not quite, so the move keeps on coming. Aherne must try and spread it. Along the line now from Woods. It's the chip in behind the defence. He says, chase that to Kearin. If he gets a good bounce, he might have a sniff, but the ball just dribbles away and dead.
Great pity, because on that occasion, Brian Sterling, the referee, did play advantage, because from the high kick, it certainly went forward from Garryowen. Would have been a perfect scrum position to launch an attack. They couldn't quite make that advantage tell.
Just gone that touch too much, hadn't it? Just that extra few seconds or so. The referee rightly deciding not to take it back, but unlucky it lands down there. McDermott was the initial battering ram, and then support came in from Andy Doyle, and along the line this is much more inspired from Lansdowne, but Garrett Aherne just couldn't take it.
It's that final pass, isn't it? The final pass to put somebody away, somebody into space. But it's good to see Lansdowne. They've come back, they've stayed positive. Running the ball, here we are, just escapes the outstretched hands of Aherne.
McIvor. Ooh, look at that tackle come in from Garrett Aherne, and I'm sure that's down really to the knock-on. He was seething, having knocked the ball forward, and he put everything into that tackle. Woods slips before he makes the man, and I'm sure Woods was happy about that. Kick on and fly hack through, chances, try! Brian Glennon. Lansdowne have their second try of the afternoon. They've stunned the champions, and Glennon knows it. Well, it was messy, very messy. Glennon was first to react. Perfect chip through, quickly down, and the fist punched in the air from the forwards who saw what was happening. Look how Glennon gets in, and then he just needs to keep his cool.
Did well to finish it off. Did very well indeed to finish it off.
Now can Conor O'Shea add the 2 points for the conversion? It's swinging nicely.
He's found his range now, hasn't he? When it matters most. And they've stayed positive, Lansdowne. Take the hats off to them. They put pressure on. This is where it all starts, because McIvor here, the scrum half, goes blindside. You'll see the number 8 standing off. And it's a straight 2-on-2 situation with no room to go. That's what put Garryowen under the pressure initially. McIvor should never have gone blindside. He should have just gone open, given it to the fly half to clear the lines. But that's what put him under pressure. Here we go. Wood slips over. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Oh, knock on, kick through. And we know the result. And it's a hell of a game now.
Back live, and if Garryowen are going to retain their title this year, they've got to do something about that scoreline. They won't be ruled out of the championship race, that there's no doubt. It's silly to say that, but really, in terms of confidence, they've got to come back. Here comes fullback Larkin. Got support from Wood. Brilliant take from Leahy. Look at him go! Oh, just into touch. Marvellous speed from the number 8.
Paul O'Connor, I think it was, he just got across there for Lansdowne and tapped it a touch. Here's Larkin who makes the break, finds Wood with him. Little pass out to his left, you'll see. There goes Leahy down, and I think you'll find that Paul O'Connor just pushes him in a touch.
That run from Leahy reminded me of that Andy Ripley in the 70s when he was charging for England once against Scotland at Murrayfield. Legs pumping and Leahy seeing the line. Just got the nudge in the back. Talking of nudges, a bit going on there at the line out.
Now then, Fergus Aherne, scrum up for Lansdowne. Settle it down, take your time. Don't rush anything now. Find your touches. All the pressure's now on Garryowen, isn't it? Haven't won it, well, they had one home game, admittedly, this season. Won 3 away. Somebody in there has got to work it out, how they get back into this game pretty quickly.
Well, it's use it or lose it, and by that I don't mean its usual sense as regards broken play, but the match. They'll lose it if they don't get hold of this now, and Andy Leslie, the Garryowen coach, is showing signs of stress. So they got a penalty going over the top.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Kenny Smith does here. I think he's got 3 out of 3 or 4 out of 4, I'm not sure which. He's going to go for it. It's his longest kick to date, isn't it?
Got to go with Smith on the form that he's in.
Yeah, but it's a good 40 yards out. There's Eric Elwood. There's Eric Elwood. Lansdowne fly half. Sadly injured at the moment.
So Smith, with the weight of a good or bad Saturday night out in Limerick on his shoulders. Here it goes. Again, he's not really worried about the distance. He was just trying to plop it through. He certainly can normally carry that kind of yardage. But in the end, it did fall just that little bit short and that little bit wide.
This is where Garryowen, they've got to keep Lansdowne down in their half. Long drop out here. Oh, good space. Look at that space.
And look at Kearin go. He'll come into picture soon at pace. But well done, Sheehan. Off to Larkin. Open passage of play here. Players strewn all over the field. Bit more order to it now. But they're all going across to the scene of the ruck, but well played, Ahearne. That's a useful one into the box. McIvor gets it away. Now, has he found touch? I don't think he has. Well, mistakes are being made. There's an air of desperation about Garryowen's play. And that is a penalty, yes, for offside. And Ahearne wastes no time, not kicking from there.
Should be another 10. Should go another 10 metres. They can kick this now. They're going to. Silly mistake, wouldn't it?
Didn't that work from Fergus Ahearne just to tap it quickly, make the dart?
It's interesting for the kick over the top. McIvor had beaten Rooney, I think it was, or even Charlie Quinn, who was chasing up, beaten him on the side step. Could have used his fullback, used the backs round there. See Dowick smelling his first victory of the season. And when you're a full-time man, brought over from New Zealand, you need wins. It's a long boat home.
I don't think you can bear to watch from the way he was looking. O'Shea. With possibly the outcome of the match resting on his shoulders. How's that for pressure? Was just plopped over. I'm afraid we've lost the pictures once more. Apologies for that, but as you know, we're waiting for Conor O'Shea to line up the kick. He's about 5 or 6 yards in from the far touchline, in between the Garryowen 22 and the 10-metre line. There's a break in play again because the ball has fallen over from its mount. And you didn't miss a thing because, courtesy of the ball, very kindly deciding to fall over twice. Here comes the kick now from Conor O'Shea. Oh, yes, again from him. And the delight on the travelling Dublin supporters' faces there. And Conor O'Shea, who couldn't kick a thing at the start of the match, lands this penalty, which could well take Lansdowne to victory against the champions. A beauty.
As you say, a beauty. He certainly didn't peak early with his goal kicking today, that's for sure. It has come good when it's mattered most.
Well, if they needed to attack a couple of minutes ago, they certainly do now. An 11-point difference.
They're going to have to run everything now, Garryowen, I feel.
And they're going to have to score a try very soon.
They'll have to score more than one, I think. It's going to have to be 2 or 3 if they're going to win this game.
There will be a bit of time added on, but not a great amount. Here's Danaher. Trying to lift, trying to inspire. McIvor goes in. Little spin away, finds Murphy. A hint of good hands there, but they got caught very quickly as Lansdowne came through on their men. Dara O'Sullivan, the flanker. Paul Spain drives on. McIvor off to Murphy again. Desperate need of a score here. Danaher with pace. Danaher keeps going. Just enough from the cover there from Quinn. Sheehan. The crowd are right behind the light blues now, and they've got a penalty.
Desperate defence by Lansdowne. Absolutely desperate.
Well, it's simply brilliant from Lansdowne, isn't it, considering the start to the season that they've had.
Suddenly there's not a spring in their step, but such a desperation, urgency in the Garryowen side to lose 2 at home down here. They don't like losing this crowd. Going for goal, which is probably the right thing to do.
I don't know about spring in their step. They used to have a spring in their side, of course. Dick Spring, now fielding a different kind of football, a political football. That's a quite awful pun, but these things happen. Smith, has he done it?
Suddenly, when you need it most, he's missed the last 2. They can't get off the 9 points.
Well, they've been let off the hook there, Lansdowne, with those 2 missed penalties from Kenny Smith. It just shows how much the pressure of the situation can weigh on the mind of a player. He couldn't miss Smith earlier in the game. Role reversal for Smith and for O'Shea, who's found his kicking form. So it's a return to the run-everything policy. Murphy. Got a hint of offside there, I think, Yes. McIvor doesn't even think about where the forwards are. Let's get moving again. Wood lays it back. McIvor's got good ball. Murphy, Danaher, going nowhere. But he's got support from Hogan, who's a great trier, as is Leahy. Now we're seeing all the aggression, all the passion of Irish rugby. And we're going to have a scrum down.
Oh, and he's given it to Lansdowne. Key decision by the referee. Deemed it to be a maul, not a ruck. Therefore, Lansdowne get the put into the scrum.
And an injury. And the call is for the physio. And they want assistance quickly, of course. It was quite a nasty injury, that, so a bit of work there for the physio to do as we look around the ground here at Dooradoyle and their new clubhouse and the packed terrace in front of that clubhouse.
Opened by Stuart Barnes and Bath, I gather, last year. They certainly made their full use of the new clubhouse when Bath visited here. They were here for a long time after match as well.
They're calling for the stretcher, which is about the worst thing that can happen on a rugby field. Seems to be in a bad way, Rooney.
Seems to be wrist or arm, doesn't it?
The replacement.
16 on the field, only happened in Ireland.
Grant White is on and Steve Rooney is off. Just 8 minutes plus time added on. Remember, before that breaking play, Lansdowne got the put in. It's crucial for them, but this could be crucial as well. Penalty conceded. Rooney just casts a glance across to what he left behind. There's no way back for him in this game.
Key decision for Paul Hogan as well. He's made the right one, in my opinion. He's going to get the 3 points on the board. Mind you, Kenny Smith will be nervous over this one. It's the easiest one of the half for him.
See, there's still a fair bit of time left if this one goes over. It does. There's a positive little punch through the posts. And Lansdowne's work is not done yet. Anxiety is the name of the day here. But they still require 2 scores. Again, it doesn't look as if it's travelling the full 10 metres, that restart. The referee will just see if Garryowen get any advantage. They don't. Back to halfway we go.
Bad mistake from Lansdowne. You've got to kick it 10 metres. You've got to give your forwards a target to go for and get it over that 10-metre line. Now they've got a scrum on halfway to defend. And they go either way, as usual. I don't think we'll see them kicking off. Lansdowne have taken their number 8 off in defence.
And they've packed the far side there, but they needed to keep it through the hands if they were going to have any effect from the move. And it's just damage limitation from Murphy.
Landy Leslie will be furious about that. It was a gold opportunity for them to move it through the hands. Even come right, even though Lansdowne had the number 8 off, still plenty of room to come right.
Really has evened up in the line-out, as you just saw. Considering the height difference and weight difference in the favour of Garryowen, Lansdowne have done really well. Lansdowne pack. Woods, he's done well too, wearing number 10, Eric Elwood's jersey. But that's giving it away. There's Larkin. He's got to run forward, not across, but he did see some space to his credit, and he's done well. McIvor would have just taken that extra step too far. McIvor, that was good play from the pack. They made that really available just as the backs needed it, but Larkin will have to ignite the move again, and he's doing so through the middle. Hogan on to Danaher. Danaher needs a tackle from someone from Lansdowne. Ahearne got it, little flick off the floor, and through goes Smith. That could be the try that can bring Garryowen victory. They've still got a lot of work to do, but Lansdowne will get the jitters now. Smith did well. He did very well.
You can see Danaher squeezing the ball out to keep the movement going. Good final pass. Kenny Smith, he gets in there just about. There's Danaher. That's where the little incision is made. You can see the ball just gets tangled up, and he just gets it away. It's not forward. Flicked up nicely. Kept the movement going, and Smith just had the pace to beat Woods in the corner. And it's all on Smith now. Left-footed conversion, his side of the field. This is critical for the game, absolutely critical.
Listen to the roar if it goes over. You've got a great view as the ball doesn't curl round. But Garryowen are right back in this match. Now, have Lansdowne got the nerve to hang on?
Yeah, so they're going to be quite there. It's a pity because it would have meant only a penalty would have been needed to win the game from Garryowen's point of view. And Kearin from halfway has got to find 10 metres. He cannot afford to put his pack under pressure again.
Better restart, had to be. Couldn't be worse. The encouragement from the Garryowen supporters, well, it's just immense. It must be driving the players onto new heights. Did well not to knock it forward there. McIvor into Wood. They'll use him now. They really will use him. And it's Hogan who takes it on. Support from Spain. McIvor quickly there to keep it going. Lansdowne are slipping off the cliff here. They've got to try and hang on.
They just need one line-out ball. They get it as far down the Garryowen half as they possibly can. And just come up in a man defence all across the pitch. They can't counter-attack Garryowen. They desperately need this line-out ball, Lansdowne.
Lansdowne have done so much work to get into this position. And that was a top-quality take by O'Connor. And don't forget what you've been watching this afternoon with the side without a win and bottom of the table taking on the side in second place and the champions. But it's the champions who are desperately still trying to come back into the match. Oh, that's his giveaway! Total giveaway! Through goes Glennon! Has he got the pace? He needs support. No, he doesn't! Glennon's second score! Just for a moment he was being turned, but immense strength from the centre. And it's all over now.
It certainly is. It's over for Garryowen. It's the start of something big for Lansdowne, that's for sure. It was a magnificent take by Eden White, but as he goes across the field and lobs the ball over, there's the intercept. And he had an awful lot of work to do, really, because there's three people coming towards him, and you think he's going to get tackled, and he should have somersaults over the try line. He's got to get marks out of 10 for the somersault as well, I think.
Look how much work he's got to do. Driving and pumping towards the line. Tackle comes in, but quite dangerous, really. Joking apart the way it went over on the neck, but as you say, 5.9 for the somersault, 10 out of 10 for the kick. Lansdowne's match now.
Most certainly, and they've showed great spirit, Lansdowne. You'd never think they were bottom of the division. But perhaps some would say you'd never think Garryowen were near the top, because it's only since they were been behind in this game that they've really produced anything. And there we see the 10-point margin.
Just 20 seconds left, or there or thereabouts, and really, well, it's wrong to write off any side, but it's mounted to climb up now for Garryowen.
He's done well, this lad, young Johnny Woods. Done very well indeed, kept his cool, kept his composure. The crowds, I think, resign themselves to the fate.
Drifting away. Still some life in the match. You do feel it would take Herculean effort to come back from this. Danaher. McIvor. Must use it, can't delay now. Wood. Here's Smith, scored a try moments ago, but not this time.
Well, I think Garryowen know they've lost this game now. They've thrown it away, really. But hats off to Lansdowne. They played really well in this second half, taken their chances. Garryowen have paid the price for taking them too lightly. So it was only until they got behind that they've really shown their true colours.
Again, good work from the line-out. The more the match has gone on, Lansdowne have established a presence in the line-out that they simply didn't have in the early moments. And that takes character. Woods has sliced. Larkin will run. Sheehan. Lovely, loping, lazy runner. Beautiful skills from Sheehan. An advantage played. Here's McIvor. McIvor with pace, with his head down. Across comes Ahearne. Battle of the scrum halves, and Ahearne just won it. Always getting a little bit nasty between those two. It'll be a silly way to end the game, and it's all calmed down.
But late in the day, from Garryowen's point of view, that sort of thing. Line-ups have evened themselves out. At one stage, Garryowen had a market advantage.
Clock is ticking for the champions. This is a major story. It's a major blow for them as well. He's given the free kick. I think that was just for delaying it.
Absolutely right.
Well, guess what? Some kind of pre-rehearsed move with four of the forwards standing off McIvor. And there's the platform, and through goes Costello.
Killing the ball. Lansdowne have killed it, gone over the top of it.
You've got to doubt, even if they score and kick, whether there's enough time to restart. Wood burrows through. I think they've got another one. They have. But the defensive work and commit from Lansdowne, astounding in the second half. Got through so much work. 3 minutes into added time. Again, it's the rehearse for Costello to drive. McIvor almost went forward. Murphy, Danaher covers there again, but you've got a sense that it was there illegally. It was. And
penalty try.
What he's done, he's given a penalty try. All they were doing were killing the moment, and referee Sterling decides that it was a penalty try. The kick goes over. Look at the watch. The match is over. Lansdowne leap for joy despite conceding that late try, that penalty try for persistent infringement and also outrageous offside. But this has been Lansdowne's day. They'll talk about this one at the club for a long, long time. Conor O'Shea making his league return. There he is. Game started badly for him, missing every kick in the book, but didn't he finish it well? The Irish International. What a way to go into the break here in league terms, because they return in Ireland in the new year. Had Lansdowne lost this match, then it was a long way back from 4 defeats. Fergus Aherne, a delighted man. And you can see the smiles on the faces. I think we should go and join the party in a minute. And Fergus Aherne is with Graham Simmons.
Thank you very much. Fergus Aherne is here indeed. Many congratulations. What a performance.
Nice. Yeah, super. I knew we had it in us.
Hey, wait, easy,
and,
easy.
And we badly needed the win, you know. We're far from pretty in the Division 1 table, but that'll do us a world of good now coming into Christmas. That's just what we needed.
The form book suggested you really had no chance of winning the game, but you obviously believed you did.
The form book don't win games. We didn't read the form book before the game, but we always knew we had the potential in the team to win it, and you know, that's not our best, but we're getting there. That was a great performance by us.
Fantastic performance by the forwards as well.
Yeah, super, yeah. I knew they had them in it, got it in them as well. And it's just great, you know, we're still on the bottom of the table 1, but it just feels better to be down there at the moment after that win. And we climb slowly up now.
Thanks very much for talking to us. Cheers. Back to the Tranquil, the studio.
Fantastic stuff. Fergus Aherne, a delighted man. The final score in a pulsating second half. Garryowen 24, Lansdowne victors 27. And the sunshine continues. And the smiles will continue for Lansdowne right the way through the evening. Let's go back down to the pitch then and rejoin Graham with Brian Glennon.
Miles, thank you very much. It's quieting down a bit near here now. Brian Glennon, many congratulations. Terrific performance.
Thanks very much. It was certainly a match that we needed to win because obviously we've had no points up to now in the league. And we were under a bit of pressure, but I think we certainly came out and did what we needed to do today with an all-round performance from the team, backs and forwards.
Two fantastic opportunities, tries from you as well.
Well, I think the first one, the ball went loose on about to Garryowen 22. And I just hacked it on, and I wasn't too sure whether to pick it or to kick it on, but I decided to pick it, and luckily enough it stuck and I fell over. And the second one, well, I suppose I was caught maybe in the middle of nowhere, and the ball just came to me from an intercept, and I just about made it to the line.
It's a tradition, this fixture, isn't it? The away team always wins.
Well, we certainly feel that we travel quite well. Bar the game against Shannon, we've always done well when we've travelled down to Limerick and Cork, and today wasn't an exception in that.
Well done. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Thanks a lot. Okay, Brian.
Breathtaking stuff in the second half there. 6-3 at half-time, Garryowen 27-24. Hard to believe. Mick, you're going to go back on that train tonight, and I'm going to take a beer off you if I promise not to tell the Lansdowne boys that you said they were going to lose this one. Great win for the team.
I don't know. The only ones who didn't think they were going to win were probably the team. None of us thought that rugby is a very strange game. These things happen all the time, and, you know, Garryowen made the mistakes when they weren't really under pressure, and we had a few lucky breaks, and that's how we came through.
Tony, exciting match, but from Garryowen's point of view, that's a disastrous defeat, and the boys are going to be really disappointed with that, aren't they?
It's bitterly disappointing, Stuart, in the context, obviously, of the All-Ireland League, and also locally. I know Shannon will be very happy on the other side of town, because that's certainly one that Garryowen had looked upon as a banker. But to be fair, Stuart, they didn't deserve to win it. They played badly today, and they paid the price in the end, and Lansdowne fully deserved to take the 2 points back to Dublin. No question.
OK, thanks, Tony. Well, the sun is shining here, but it's not shining in the changing rooms of Garryowen. 27-24 defeat at home to Lansdowne, who had not won a game before today. We're taking a break, then we'll be back with all the actions, tries and more interviews. We'll see you after that break.
The place created by legend. The man, a boxing legend.
Champion of the world.
The
Free Spirit Holidays.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to a dejected Dooradoyle. Garryowen 24, Lansdowne 27. Tries from Smith, penalty try as well at the end. It was just a consolation. Kenny Smith converted 1 and 4 penalties. For Lansdowne, Fergus Aherne scored. Glennon got a couple of tries, and coming good at the end with his kick-in, Conor O'Shea with 3 conversions and 2 penalties. It's a shock today. It's done a lot of damage to Garryowen's chances of winning the league, but it's going to pick up Lansdowne in their bid to stave off relegation. The Lansdowne coach is with Graham Simmons below.
Stuart, thank you very much indeed. Down here with Steve Darrick. Steve, you waited a while for a win. It was worth the wait, almost, wasn't it?
Well, it's been a long time, Graham. Very delighted, you know, very relieved as well.
What particularly impressed you, apart from the fact that you scored more points than them? What particularly impressed you about the performance?
Well, it was just a good 15-man effort. I think there wasn't one player out there today that didn't sort of throw themselves on the line, and we sort of kept it fairly, we aimed to keep it fairly simple and just focus on the ball and not worry so much about Garryowen. I mean, as you know, the pressure mounts with each game, and tremendous amount of pressure on us there today, and I just, you know, I think they all just, I wouldn't single one particular person out. I think they all played very, very well.
You pulled away from in the second half, didn't you? But you dominated long periods of the first half without really capitalising on that.
Well, we did too, and it's been a problem that we've had all season. We get down to the opponent's 22 area, and then invariably we'll give away penalties or make stupid mistakes and allow the opposition to either kick themselves or play themselves out of that area. And I mean, that's where the points are scored, and we're just not spending enough time in the opponent's 22 area. But I thought today the move of Johnny Woods playing it out half, it allowed, at least we had a player for once that had the ability to put the ball down the pitch, and like some of his kicks, although they probably deteriorated a wee bit as the game went on, he started very well and he was able to put us down in the opponent's area, and that coupled with a very good line-out performance from Paul O'Connor with the backing from the rest, it gave us a good supply of ball and enabled us to get down and well, not dominate, but at least we spent a lot of time in the Garryowen half.
Just very briefly, we spoke in midweek, and I said, have you been converted to the Guinness since you've come from New Zealand? Are you going to be having a Guinness tonight?
Actually, I might. I think it would probably be a good occasion to have a Guinness.
All right, Steve. Keep it quiet, though, won't you?
I will.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Steve Dowrick, a typically unassuming New Zealander, not too impressed with it. Hopefully he'll warm up as the night goes on. An amazing game, wasn't it? The first half, 6-3, nothing happening. What changed the pace of the game, Tony?
Yeah, it certainly lifted in the second half. I must say I agree with his point there about Johnny Woods. I thought he did have a very good game. I mean, it'd be very difficult. It's like you or I going into scrum half to try and play because it's a position that was foreign to him. But he certainly kicked very well. He got a little bit tired as the game went on. But even his covering for that try that we'll see later on where Kenny Smith scored in the corner, again, his covering was very, very good. I think the crucial things today, Stuart, were Paul O'Connor competed very, very well in the line out. And the line is such a crucial phase of play that if you get that primary possession, well, you're on the pig's back. That was very important. In addition to that, the fact that Ben Cronin wasn't playing for Garryowen limited their options there. And really the line out in the second half, I would imagine the stats will show that it went very much in favour of Lansdowne, so that certainly was a big factor in the overall context.
Well, certainly it was a great start for Lansdowne in the second half. Fergus Aherne, their captain, was the man who brought this try. Mick, a moment that brought a smile to your face. But tactically, Garryowen again, defensively all over the place, aren't they there? Number 7 flying.
That's right.
I mean, Mick, this is his strength, isn't it, at 9?
Oh, yeah, Fergus. Sometimes he does it too much, but when he gets the chance, he's really very fast on the break. And nobody will catch him over 15 or 20 yards.
Yeah, great acceleration there. We can see that again, and you can see the defence there of Garryowen, Tony.
Yeah, I think Darragh Sullivan won't be happy with those two pieces of play. In the first one, Johnny was very well to jink inside him. To be fair, there should have been more cover than coming across, and I think had Ben Cronin been there, he would have clobbered him had that been the case. The second one, the disappointing thing from Garryowen's point of view is they know that's Gussie Ahearne's strength, and equally his weakness, that if you show him a gap, he will go for it. But if you show Gussie a gap and you let him get into that gap, he's gone, and it's game, set and match. And I'm afraid the gates were closed there. Gussie was gone in under the post. And that really changed the game, because suddenly Lansdowne were beginning to edge away. And I think their first half performance even deserved to be that little bit further ahead. And Garryowen were chasing the game thereafter.
Well, certainly that was disappointment for Garryowen, but it was joy for one man in the crowd, Eric Elwood. He's with Graham below.
Stuart, yes, thank you. I'll let you on a secret. I had the misfortune of sitting in front of Eric Elwood today, and I've still got earache, and he hasn't got a voice back yet. Have you got your voice back?
No, but it was worth it, I can tell you that. It was a good win for us.
That was a terrific performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. We played very well in the first half, yes. We were losing the game by 6-3. Garryowen got into our half twice and scored. But they showed great character. We got some good tries and we won the game.
The boys up in the studio just suggesting that Fergus Ahearne's try really was what turned things around. Would you say it that way?
Yeah, certainly it was well spotted by Gussie. He was always nipping around the sides there, and then a large hole just opened up, and no better guy than Gussie to take it.
The really impressive thing about the team today was the heart that they played with. I mean, here they were 0-3. They were coming to the home of the defending champions, and they went right at them.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, I mean, we were actually playing quite well. We just need a bit of luck and maybe get that first win we need under our belt. Excuse me. So I think it's a great win for us. It'll get us back on the road, and it was just everybody's delighted. Excellent.
Let's see if you can get your place back now.
Yeah, as I was saying, Johnny Woods is a very good guy to have on your side, and he proved it again today, playing at fly half, and he did a wonderful job.
All right, Eric. Well, just in beside you now here is Andy Leslie, who's the Garryowen coach. Commiserations. Where did you feel it went wrong for you, Andy?
Well, we could have started at 9:15 this morning and had no team out there to play against, and I don't think we would have won a game of football today. I think our turnover rate, our errors were just not acceptable for a First Division All-Ireland League side. You know, we just turned over far too much possession.
It was very disjointed, wasn't it, particularly up front?
Yeah, it was. But, you know, credit to the pressure that was put on us. You know, they attacked the game, they stuck to a very simple game plan, and it paid dividends. But,
we talked earlier on back at the hotel about complacency, which I mean is not the right word to use. I'm not suggesting Garryowen were complacent, but do you think perhaps they took Lansdowne a little bit too lightly?
Not at all, not at all. We've got too much respect for these guys. A couple of our guys have played for Lansdowne, and they're a club who we respect tremendously, and we knew their position on the table certainly didn't indicate the way they were playing. And I know Steve Derrick would have had the voice quite excited about today's game, if for nothing else. You know, he was playing against another New Zealand coach.
Yeah. Eric, how did the motivation get going for this game? Because I mean, how did that Fergus and the coaching staff really get the guys up for this?
Well, as Andy was saying, we were at the foot of the table, so we don't need much motivation for that. But as I was saying, I mean, we just kept playing our normal game, kept plugging away. As Andy was saying, it's a simple game we play. We like to play 15-man rugby. And as I say, we were playing well. We just needed that win to get us off the bottom. We got it today.
And very briefly, it puts a bit of a dent in your championship hopes, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, but, you know, we're still there. We're, you know, I think if we'd showed patience today, we could have won the game. And, you know, we probably wouldn't have deserved to have won it. But, you know, if we had kept our head with 5 minutes to go, we were starting to climb into it. And that was about the only passage of play we were really in the game. We got cleaned out of line-outs, you know, and that's where a game is won and lost these days.
Andy, commiserations. Eric, congratulations. Go and get yourself a lozenge, because I think you need one, don't you?
Thanks very much.
We're all breathing. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Well, that's Eric Elwood there, missing today, so it's a great win for Lansdowne without him, but Garryowen are going to be disappointed. Stephen McIvor, a very talented scrum half, but too many tactical mistakes today cost them dearly. The try for Brian Glennon is one perfect illustration of it, isn't it, Tony?
Stephen's a player with enormous potential, as we pointed out before the game, but there were 1 or 2 wrong options taken here. There's one. Yeah. I mean, there's no chance there for the winger for Aidan White. He's totally boxed in both by the number 8 and by his opposite left wing. And again here, the option taken by Garryowen, indeed, is the scrum half and the 2 players involved. I think Keith Wood is the second that the ball eventually comes here. This is not a place to be punching in close, so close to your own line. I mean, that was actually inside the Garryowen 22, and really that ball needed to be put down the field.
I think that's probably why Woody fell down there. He's probably surprised he was actually getting that ball.
To receive the ball, yeah, absolutely. I think the one player, I've referred to him in the line-out, Stuart, the fact that Ben Cronin was missed, but I think very much for Stephen McIvor, around the fringe, he was also missed as well. He depends very much. They have a terrific understanding, as invariably a scrum half and a number 8 will have, and he missed him today.
Glennon here, great pace. That helps him as well, doesn't it? The mistakes made, but that's good pace and a pick-up, Mick.
Yeah, he's very fast off the mark, and he's good hands, and he knows where the line is.
Yeah, we can see that again now. I mean, it's bad play by Gary, and they should be clearing it there.
That ball there.
But that's Glennon's strength, isn't it? And
kicks it through.
There's a yard.
Yeah, he's gone. Picks it up very fast, very well, and over. 2 of them on it.
Well, I think Andy Leslie was talking about the number of mistakes and tactical as well as turnovers, and that really encapsulated the problem Garryowen today, Tony, didn't it?
Yes, it did. I know it's an easy thing to say, and it's one of the buzz terms in the modern game about turnovers, but there's no doubt today there was far too much ball turned over. And equally, I have to say, which was unusual, I was making the point beforehand that Garryowen are a very exciting team to watch because they play 15-man rugby, but they play 15-man rugby with very straight running in the back line. And while today they weren't quite running across the field, there were a lot of players in a very narrow area of the field, and I felt that it was on once or twice to actually take the dummy, take the tackle, and then set it up again and perhaps go back the other way. That the Garryowen backline today lacked conviction, and that's one thing that they have had over the last number of seasons. Disappointing.
Well, one man who kicked well at the end but struggled with part of his game was Conor O'Shea, and it was a Conor O'Shea mistake that led to a really good try by Garryowen, as we can see now.
That was probably an ideal opportunity. Conor had time to put that ball diagonally down into the corner, and one thing Dan Larkin, one of many things, but one real strength he has is the ability to counter-attack, and that's pressure that Lansdowne unnecessarily put upon themselves. Again, I mean, the play broke down. Perhaps Lansdowne could have cleared it, but Garryowen managed to regroup. The ball comes back, and this is something they are very good, and I think Keith Wood might be involved here again. It's a good long pass out. They managed to get players in support outside.
Larkin again
stepping in, and eventually the numbers told. Phil Danaher does well. Ahearne's lines of running in defence were very good, and there again he did well to take Danaher down, but Kenny Smith got around. And again here we're talking about Johnny Woods. He did tremendous work throughout as a scrum half, and he almost got Kenny Smith in the corner.
Now, Mick, all of that's 30 seconds of counter-attacking play, and it all really came, didn't it, from an international fullback putting a very loose kick down the centre of the park.
Correct, and I think I thought today, and Tony would agree with me, that Conor was rusty, and I don't think he's back to his best that we've seen last year from him. But he's been injured and he's come back. He missed 2 easy penalties in the first half when we could have led 9-3 at one stage, and you know, he didn't kick well all day. And the experienced players should be able to keep us going.
Well, certainly the trophy here in shot. It's going to be difficult to win for Garryowen now after that one. Conor O'Shea overall, how did you feel about him, Tony?
I agree with the points Mickey has just made. He's ring rusty, as inevitable, because he's been out for a while. He's an exciting player. He's a player who needs confidence, Stuart. You know, he's got to be told that he's a good player, and he responds to that in a very positive way. I think that's something Jerry Murphy will be working on this season. But certainly on today's performance, he didn't have a good one, and no one will know that more than he himself.
Well, certainly not a good day for Garryowen either. The last try that they gave away, again, typifies the number of mistakes. They were forced to run the ball, and Glennon was the man who took advantage here, Mick. Great catch.
Yeah, very well caught.
But again, they're kicking it deep and they're forcing them to counter, and this time...
And look at that, yeah.
But again, that's that yard, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I think Brian was very honest, to be fair to him, in the interview afterwards when he said he was in no man's land. But I thought he did very well to get into that
Dragged over
position.
the line there.
He was in the end, yeah. And 2 opportunist tries by Glennon, and in the end, yeah, that was the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, but really, that's a marvellous catch. But when you're down, when you're in front, Lansdowne were actually kicking it for position. Garryowen, in contrast with that earlier try, tried to run the ball from deep. Oh, that's a 14-point turnaround, is it, from tactical ineptitude, which Lansdowne actually did well today, and Garryowen didn't.
Yeah, and we always felt they were going to come back and score, as they did in the end with the penalty try, but the gap was gone. The game was over as a contest at that stage, and really Garryowen gave it away.
Yeah, it's Garryowen going to be disappointed, but what did you make of McIvor at scrum half? He's a talented player, but he's still got a bit to learn. His tactical decision making.
A bit inexperienced and certain. He went on the blind side a few times when it would be better off to give it to the out half to kick it, get the Garryowen out of danger a few times, you know. And he's very promising, though, and he's fast. He nearly scored here in the corner behind us. And I think he's a very good future.
We made a point earlier, didn't we? McIvor makes lots of lovely little darts around the base of the scrum. And Cronin, who was in the Ireland tour party to Australia, was missing today. That made a difference to the cohesion of the Garryowen team.
Yes, it did, because their back row are very well organised. And Paul Hogan plays very much off Ben Cronin, the number 8, as well. McIvor links particularly well, and they do an awful lot of their moves around that. Now, having said that, young Leahy, who came in, is a promising player. But it's difficult, as you know. When a player goes out, you've got your Tuesday or Thursday to try and reorganise the troops. And I'm afraid it didn't come off today. And certainly no one suffered more than McIvor in that respect.
Yeah. Certainly. Well, with us now, with Graham Simmons down below, is Conor O'Shea, a man whose game finished rather better than it started. He's with Graham Simmons.
Stuart, yes, thank you. Not the greatest of games from you personally, but for the team, fantastic.
Yeah, it was great for the team. Yeah, it was a bit... I wasn't involved in the game as much as I'd like to. Took a bit of a knock early on, you know, and that kind of slowed me up. But it was just a question there. I was hopefully getting into the kicking groove, and the lads did brilliantly in front, and it was great to come down here. I mean, to come down here and beat... They're still one of the best sides in the country. It's a huge boost for our season now going forward, and hopefully now I can to pick up my season from here now as well, you know. So it was a great win. There's a good atmosphere in the dressing room at last.
Yeah, you've had a bit of knee trouble, haven't you, the last few weeks? Was that bothering you today? Because you looked a bit hamstrung.
Yeah, it was. I got a knock very early on in the game, and that was a bit sore for most of the game. But it was just slowing me up rather than doing anything. But I knew I could stay up. I found it a bit difficult twisting and turning, but I just have to play through that now, and just hopefully that'll give me a bit of confidence now, because it's tough. I had a knee operation during the summer, and I'm looking forward now. I got a knock again when I came back, and now I just have to look forward to this season, so hopefully that's the end of it, you know.
I'll ask you a quick daft question. What's the mood like down there in the dressing room? I heard a bit of noise earlier on.
There's a little bit of noise, but might have a little bit of fun. I'd say that the lads will enjoy themselves more tonight than they have for a few weeks anyway, so it'll be a good one.
Bless you. Thanks, Conor.
Thanks
Stuart, back to you.
A little bit of fun. We all know what that means to Lansdowne today. It looks like Dublin is going to be a very busy place this evening. But one thing that can't be said about Garryowen is they lack any spirit. 27-17 down, it looked all ends up. But all of us in the studio here felt they were always going to come back. And in fact, everyone thought they'd score. They did in the end with a penalty try, which, Tony, I thought credit should be given to Brian Sterling here.
Yeah, I agree. Too often we see referees just continually give a string of penalties at the end, but the referee had the courage to give the penalty try. And usually, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the referee has to be almost certain that a try was going to be scored. Yeah. So it's a difficult decision to give, but I must say I agree with you, and I think Sterling was right to give that penalty try.
Mick, it is a hard call, because there's no way you can say that would definitely been a try, but it's persistent infringement, and you can't go back 10 yards. Are you in favour of that as a decision?
Well... looking at it from a Lansdowne point
Not today.
but I can understand your feelings on it and Tony's feelings. And yeah, I agree. I think if you're wasting time knowing there's only a minute or two to go, I think the referee has every right to do that.
Yeah. And as it turned out, it made no difference, because I think the final whistle went immediately after that, so it actually made no difference in the end, because the killing blow was Glennon's interception.
Yeah. Well, we can see that penalty try again. And again, what we're seeing here, Tony, this is the third penalty, isn't it? That third penalty, again, they're offside. They haven't retreated before the first one. And that's just crowded out the midfield, and you can see the backs there.
Yeah, they're lying offside, yeah, and they were killing the ball there in close when it was coming out from the ruck. But, I mean, they knew the game was won at that stage, and it was a little bit of professionalism, if you like, which backfired, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Full credit to the referee, 10 out of 10.
But would you say Lansdowne deserved it today?
Well, I think... it's a very hard question to answer. But
I think they did.
Well, I think with O'Shea missing 2 easy penalties, I think to come back from that, although Garryowen gave them their chances, they took them, therefore they deserve to win on the day. I think most Garryowen people would agree as well.
Yeah, I don't think anyone down here will begrudge Lansdowne that victory. I agree.
And we needed it really badly.
Yeah. I mean, Lansdowne were hungry out there. They went looking for the game from the off. They took it to Garryowen. Garryowen, despite what Andy said, and I can understand why he said that they were treating Lansdowne with total respect, but I think there was a knock-on from last week's tremendous win at Young Munster, that there was an air of complacency there today. The conditions perhaps helped. It was a festival occasion. The cameras were here, and unfortunately it backfired, and they'll be bitterly disappointed in that dressing room now.
Well, one thing that Garryowen's performance showed today, that with all the talent in the world, and Garryowen played some lovely rugby, tactically, if you're not right, you're going to lose matches, aren't you? And today, Garryowen really illustrated to anyone watching the game that decision-making is even more important than the physical ability, Tony.
Oh, crucial. There was a lot of tactical naivety, as we've already pointed out, plus an awful lot of turnovers, and put that all into the one big melting pot, and I'm afraid the result was 0 points at the end of the day.
Yeah, Mick. It's going to be a long train journey back. Are you going to tell them that you tipped Garryowen today?
Well, I'm very delighted for one man. John Woods Sr. played a lot of rugby with me in his youth, and he's two sons. One is Niall Woods, who plays for Blackrock in Ireland, and this is Johnny, who is an older brother, but is in the shade. And I'm very glad for the father that his elder son has come through today. And good luck to the future for him. Yeah.
Next week, we're at Bath, Leicester. Very quickly, sure the English viewers will want to know what you think. One word, Bath or Leicester, Mick?
I think it's going to be Bath. It's Bath every Saturday we ever watch, so it's probably going to continue to be.
It's at the Rec as well, isn't it?
It is at the Rec, Tony, yeah.
Jerry Guscott's back.
Yep.
So we look forward to exciting rugby, and I would think a home win again.
OK, so it's Bath tipped by our two, and they can't call me biased this time. That's all for this week. Let's catch up with what's in store in the week ahead.
On Tuesday, of course, it's grassroots, our 6:30 start time for the inside view of all levels of rugby plus competitions. On Wednesday, the Rugby Club join Jamie Salmon for tactical hints, all the league action and views from the top names in the game. And now two bonuses. On Friday, exclusively live coverage of the New Zealand Barbarians against the Australian Barbarians. Set the alarm and watch it with breakfast. 7:15 a.m. the programme starts. And next Saturday, you match this. Bath against Leicester, also exclusive.